to advanced surgical procedures. With state-of-the-art facilities and a welcoming environment, your pets will feel at home. Enjoy military and senior citizen discounts. Call 803-776-4554 or visit GarnersFerryAnimalHospital.com today. We treat your pets like family.
The difference between an average morning and a Hardee's morning is hearty goodness that lasts till lunchtime. Like Hardee's smoked sausage biscuit, split Hillshire Farm smoked sausage on a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit. And our Frisco breakfast sandwich with cherrywood smoked bacon or ham on toasted sourdough. Hardee's, goodness in the making. Download the app and join my rewards for special offers. Available for a limited time at participating restaurants.
Everybody loves streaming till you have to pay for it. Just download the 107.5 The Game app and stream us for free.
Snakes, zombies, public speaking. The list of fears is endless. But the real danger is in your hand when you're behind the wheel. Distracted driving is what's really scary and even deadly. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
And now, traffic sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive on the Game Network.
All right, let's take one last look at your traffic and weather from the Wetzel's Automotive Traffic Center. On your Monday morning, a couple accidents to report, one at I-77 northbound, 2-Notch Road, another one at 2-Notch and South Lake Drive, and then one at I-20 westbound before Highway 6 with a right lane block. Cooler today, high of 79, scattered showers. Tomorrow, 83 with a chance of thunderstorms, pretty much the same for Wednesday as well. Your traffic and weather, the one the Wetzel's Automotive Traffic Center here on The Game.
And the kick is good!
Call or text 803-404-6100 on the Game Network.
9 o'clock on your Monday morning. Welcome in. It is the Extra Point. Tyler Ed and Jack Beltry along with you here. We are 27 days away from kickoff. If you've been outside over the past 3 days, it does not feel like early August. We're in what I think we like to call false fall. Are you familiar with this?
No, I'm not.
False fall is where we have about a week or so where it cools off and kind of gives you the inkling like, hey, wow, the weather's breaking and it's going to be nice going forward, and then it jumps back up to 95 to 100 degrees about a week after that.
Yeah,
so,
I was about to say, because Friday it was like 96 degrees.
Yes, it was.
And then Saturday was mid-80s, but lots of rain. Yesterday I had a lot of rain, and today in the morning it's like 69, 70 degrees, and it's going to be like that most of the day, which I'm like, that's perfect for fall. But I know it's too good to be true because in a few days, I haven't looked at the full weather, but I'm sure coming up in like a few days, it'll be like back to mid-90s.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Don't let it lull you into a false sense of security, because then when it jumps back up, it's going to smack you in the face really hard.
Oh, yeah. We won't be getting that type of weather until, I'd say, like October probably, like at the earliest.
Well, and that also varies. It can sometimes be like mid to late October, sometimes right at the beginning of October. You just never really know, but you just assume August and September are going to just be brutal as they tend to be.
I'm telling you, when we get to that first home game of the year in September against SC State, it is going to probably be like 95 degrees out.
At least that's a night game.
Yeah.
For like when the game itself's taking place. Now when you're tailgating, be safe, hydrate, all those kind of things, because it's going to be a brutal afternoon into that evening for sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So we're getting closer. If you think about it, we had the Hall of Fame game on Thursday, but this past weekend was the last, as far as like Friday through Sunday, the last weekend we'll have until basically mid-February without some form of football content going on. Obviously, NFL preseason gets rolling proper this week, so we have those games going on all weekend. And then, 4 weeks from yesterday is when we'll have South Carolina football kicking off.
Yeah, in about, 2 weeks we'll have the first college football games of the year, right?
2 weeks from this Saturday is week 0.
Okay, perfect, man. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm glad we're starting to get this thing moving. It feels like August is going to really fly by, and we'll get to week 1 and week 0 here relatively soon. I mean, preseason's going to definitely help with that. But did it just feel like to you July was just such a slow burn? Like, it felt like the 4th of July was like 3-4 months ago, man. Like, that's crazy.
It tends to feel that way. I feel like the longer months, the months with 31 days, always feel longer because, they have the extra day. But I feel like July, especially for what we do, where you're kind of in that transition of, like, you're getting close to things happening, but not really. Again, we were at media days for a couple days, doing all that kind of right there, smack dab in the middle. And then, you have all the stuff at the end with the media availabilities and all that kind of stuff, birdies with Beamer last week. So, like, a lot happened, which I feel like makes that month feel a lot longer, as opposed to, like, June, where, like, not a whole lot happened and kind of went by a whole lot quicker, I feel like.
Yeah, I guess you would think it'd be the other way around, but I guess not. But, now we are we're fully into August, man. Fall camp got going this weekend, and I was there for both of them. And, I will say the 9:33, 9:23 stuff, they were actually pretty good at keeping up with it. Like, we weren't waiting there for a long time. We were in there pretty quickly.
We will dive into all the latest happenings at camp in just a second, but it is 9 o'clock and got to kick things off with our Sandstorm Pick Me Up.
Time to get hyped. Here's your 9 a.m. Sandstorm, sponsored by George Sink Injury Lawyers. Just call all nines.
And it's time for your 9 a.m. Sandstorm Pick Me Up, brought to you by South Carolina's largest injury law firm, George Sink Injury Lawyers. If you've been hurt in the car or at work, call George Sink now at 803-ALL-9s. Well, we kind of got an update in the latest on the Rasul Faison saga. By the way, if you could go back over the course of the past, now 8 months, since we're in the month of August, and listen to all of our shows between January and now, where we talked about the Faison eligibility. If you took a shot every time we mentioned that over the past 8 months, you'd be pretty sideways.
Yeah, it would be for sure. But yeah, no, he was. So, long story short, he was not at practice on Friday, right? He had not been cleared yet to practice. Then his attorney, Darren Heitner, puts in the practice waiver to the NCAA.
Sure.
And I don't know how many hours it took, but I was just talking to Elijah before he headed out. It was probably like only a few hours, and he was cleared, and he was out there on Saturday for practice.
And this is where things get confusing. Like, all right, if you can clear that in a mere hours, why is this other thing taking so long? And here's where the confusion kind of set in on Friday, because he was not out there on Friday morning. That was something that all you guys noted on Gamecock Central, like, hey, Faison's not practicing. And we're like, okay, what does that mean? And then we learned that he is sitting out practice, and the assumption was, okay, if I'm not cleared to play, I'm not going to put myself at risk of getting hurt or whatever by not practicing. Come to find out, it was because he wasn't allowed to practice, which is why they had to seek this waiver. Like, is this not insane?
It's just truly crazy to me that the fact that, like, a practice waiver can be cleared so quickly, but yet we're still talking about 7 months of, he's not cleared yet for games. It's like, what are we doing here? Like, the NCAA obviously knows that, like, what's going on here. Like, they need to make a decision on this Rasul Faison situation when games are coming up. But it's crazy how quickly they can get back. But, yeah, he's clear for practice. But, like, games, nothing yet.
All I want is transparency at this point, right? Because, again, there's something that's hanging this process up on why he's not eligible. Depending on what you read or what you hear, it's one of these other schools that he went to that's causing issues, right? I wish, and again, this is wishful thinking here, I wish the NCAA, for something that's been going on for this long, would just say, hey, here's what the problem is. here's whatever piece of paper information that we're waiting on. That's why you don't have your answer yet. Because right, we're just guessing, saying, well, we think it might be because of this. We think it might be because of that. You're the entity. You're the one that is waiting on whatever you're waiting on. Just tell people. Put out a statement saying, oh, we understand the frustration of, the phase-on eligibility ruling, but we're waiting for Marshall to send us this one thing, or Snow College that he went to, or whatever it may be.
But apparently, and Wes Mitchell from Gamecock Central and colleague here at 107.5 put out, I think it was either a tweet or something on the Insiders Forum the other day that like whatever the holdup is, it's not Marshall that's the holdup here. With that being Faison's first school in 2019 that he was at college for, but never played football there. So I really don't know what the deal is here. I feel like it's just something. I feel like it's the NCAA just. I don't know. Did they lose the paperwork? Are they just forgetting about it? Like, obviously not, since they were able to clear Faison's practice waiver in hours. It's just the inconsistency makes no sense to me. And I think this kind of just made things worse in that, so we can clear a practice waiver, no problem. But the more important waiver, we can't even get around to for 7 months here.
Did you ever have a teacher lose something of yours?
Oh, yeah. And my parents forget stuff all the time. Like, shoot, I'm forgetting stuff probably right now. Like, it's so laughably insane to think that this has been going on. This is worse than any teacher or parent forgetting anything. 7 months, man. Come on.
It just, again, I just want transparency. I just want to know what the holdup is. And again, if you're going to deny him, just deny him so we can stop going on with this. Because again, you'd like to have Rasul Faison because he would be your feature back. Again, 1,000 yards last year at Utah State. That's great. But if you're not going to have him, I'd just like to know so we can move on from this. He can go figure out what his next course of action is, NFL, UFL, whatever that may be, whatever. At least we'd have an answer then. We could all move on. But this will it, won't it type of thing, because, again, I lean heavily towards he's not getting ruled eligible. But until we get an answer, you can never completely count it out.
Yeah, you can't say never to this. You just hope that someday we're going to get an answer. Obviously, Shane Beamer's continued to remain positive in that he's hopeful the NCAA will, quote, do the right thing and all that. So you hope the answer comes eventually. But, again, we keep saying it every single time. It's like the only analogy I can kind of think of here. It's like that girlfriend that breaks up with you, and you're hoping man, I think she's gonna come back someday. I think she'll see the good in me and would want to come back. And then 6 months pass, and it's nope, never come back. It's just the longer we keep waiting on this, the less hope you have. And it feels like South Carolina is just kind of waiting for nothing to happen at this point, and hopefully something does happen. But it just feels like a lost cause at this point, that maybe something will happen, but odds are I don't think it will.
It's kind of one of those expect the worst and hope for the best. I feel like just going at this with the mindset that it's not going to happen and hoping to be pleasantly surprised is probably the best way at this point. Because again, who knows? And gosh, it could be halfway through the year before we finally get an answer. And then that'd be the most the insane part if they wait this long and then it's still just a no, right? Because okay, we could have just said that 5 months ago, wouldn't have this problem. Or we wouldn't have wasted so much time and energy discussing it or reading into it when you could have just said, hey, we don't have what we need. Sorry. You missed the deadline. Whatever college was responsible for not doing their job here. And then we just move on.
It's a yes or no answer. It's simple. It's simple. The facts, the evidence, everything you need is all here. Not even a court case should take would take this long. But the fact of this is just the NCAA, just I don't know, meandering around trying to do anything else but give an answer to this it's wild to me. So
that's just how the NCAA operates, unfortunately. We will discuss other things that have been observed through the first couple days of camp coming up next. But a reminder, we are a little under 3 weeks away now from the Games Summer Golf Classic, which will be August 22nd out at Charwood Golf Club in West Columbia. Tee time is going to be at 9 a.m. that day. Registration will start at 7:30. Going to have onion sausages for breakfast and Firehouse subs for lunch. We're going to be giving away prizes as well as the golf gun making its return. If you want to take part, it's $400 for a team. Give Charwood a call at 803-755-2000 and press the number 2 to sign up. Again, that's the game Summer Golf Classic coming up Friday, August 22nd, out at Charwood Golf Club. More camp observations next as the extra point rolls along. Tyler Head and Jack Veltri with you on your Monday on The Game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
It's back. The Game Summer Golf Classic, sponsored by Krager Showrooms, formerly The Nest, located in the Vista. Friday, August 22nd at Charwood Golf Club in West Columbia. 7:30 a.m. registration and 9 a.m. shotgun start. Onion sausage for breakfast and Firehouse subs for lunch. Just $400 a team. Get your foursome in by calling Charwood at 803-755-2000 and press number 2 to sign up. Once again, lots of prizes. We'll be broadcasting live 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. The Game Summer Golf Classic, Friday, August 22nd at Charwood. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at herndonchevy.com.
Tyler Ed here for our friends over at Twin Peaks. We just talked about it a moment ago. Preseason getting rolling proper for the NFL later on this week. And yeah, the games don't count, but football is still football. And there's no better place to take in whatever football action, preseason, regular season, postseason, or anything in between with our friends over at Twin Peaks. You can score some late round flyers. There's no better research than watching every single play of the preseason over at Twin Peaks. And with fantasy football just around the corner, Twin Peaks is the place for a draft party. From now through September 4th, reserve your fantasy football draft party at participating Twin Peaks locations and score big with a draft kit loaded with everything you need, a $50 kickback card for the commissioner and a $5 kickback card for every league guest. Plus, sip on local specials and enter for a shot at $1,000 cash thanks to Molson Coolers. All this and more with our friends at Twin Peaks, getting you ready for football down in the Vista.
Want a way to make your life a little easier? Are you in need of heating and air or electrical repairs? AAA Heating and Air offers up to 12-month payment plans on HVAC or electrical repairs with no credit check. That's right. Just a valid bank account is all you need. Call AAA Heating and Air today and get your comfort back on track. Homeowners only. Call now, 803-677-1500. Tell them Jay Phillips sent you.
AAA Air when you need us. AAA Heating and Air.
It's time to take advantage of Zero Res Carpet Cleaning's back-to-school BOGO sale. For a limited time, when you get 2 rooms of carpet cleaned, you can get 2 rooms cleaned for free. You heard that right. I didn't stutter. I said free. When you get 2 rooms of carpet cleaned, just mention Elijah Campbell, that's me, at 107.5 The Game, and you'll get 2 rooms cleaned for free. Use promo code BOGO at ZeroResColumbia.com. Zero Res. All they leave is clean.
I'm with Stephen Samuels of the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm. So, Stephen, how does someone know if you're the right firm to handle their case?
Hey, great question. You know, each case is unique as the people involved. We're local. You meet with your attorney in person. That way you can tell firsthand if we're a good fit for you. We're a diverse practice. We pack a big punch, and our approach works.
Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 803-779-4000.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/radio to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio. HIMS.com/RADIO.
It's the Hendrick Chevrolet Countdown to Kickoff. 27 days away.
Love Chevrolet is now Hendrick Chevrolet. Choose from an even larger selection of new Chevy trucks, SUVs, cars, EVs, and certified pre-owned. Visit HendrickChevroletColumbia.com. Together, let's drive.
Hate paying for streaming? Well, the 107.5 The Game app is free. Yes, free. Just download the 107.5 The Game app.
The Extra Point with Tyler Head and Jack Veltri from Gamecock Central on the Game Network and the 107.5 The Game app.
Welcome back in. It is the Extra Point. Tyler Head and Jack Veltri along with you here on your Monday on the Game as we enter the first full week of camp for South Carolina. Jack, I know you guys have only gotten to see about 30 minutes roughly of camp so far, and a lot of that is stretching and special teams work. What has stood out to you, if anything, from what you have gotten to see so far?
It's a good question to ask there, just because, again, we've only gotten to put it in perspective, and again, the videos are out there on Gamecock Central's YouTube to kind of just see what we're seeing out there. It's not really much. It's a little bit of, the ball security drills, punt return, kickoff return. I guess the main thing is that, and I thought this was interesting, that Luke Doty was working with, on, I think it was kickoff return on day one of fall camp, and you have everyone freaking out like, oh, why is he doing that? Isn't he the quarterback too and stuff? I mean, yeah, but Beamer did say it the other day, like Luke Doty is going to be playing some special teams this year probably, and he's the quarterback too right now, but that doesn't mean that Cutter Woods or Aaron Nolan can't win that job as fall camp moves along. But not anything too crazy, honestly, in terms of like what stands out. It's just, it seems like they're really healthy for the most part. Rasul Faison's out there, and that's really we haven't really seen too much. We haven't seen any 11 on 11, no 7 on 7. So I feel like to give a real like what has stood out, that's pretty much the general consensus, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah. Again, that's kind of what we expect. And again, we're thankful that Beamer does allow you guys to be out there just in general anyway. Just got to kind of read between the lines and obviously lean on your sources as well for, what is kind of happening when you guys aren't out there in terms of figuring out depth charts and those kind of things that will happen over the course of the month. But one thing you guys do get to see a lot of is obviously the special teams, guys returning kicks, guys returning punts. And, this is kind of one element, as we talked about, with replacing your kicker, your punter, and your long snapper and holder, I guess, to a degree as well. From a year ago, the kick returner and punt returner is not something we've talked about as much. Juju McDowell, these past couple of years, has kind of been your primary guy for that, and now you don't have him anymore. So both those spots pretty wide open, and it seems like a wide range of guys are getting work at attempting to return kicks and punts.
Yeah, you have a lot of the younger guys out there kind of working on the kick and punt return. Basically, what happens is both of the punt and kick return guys are lined up in the end zone, and you'll have the jug machines, just putting those balls in sky high into the air, and those guys are obviously returning them. One guy that Jody Camillus, special teams coordinator for South Carolina, mentioned to me the other day as a potential top kickoff return option right now is Nick Harbor, who towards the end of the year was working a lot more as a kickoff returner, in addition to his role as a wide receiver alongside Juju McDowell, who was South Carolina's primary kick return. Now, Harbor only had one kick return last year, but again, with his speed, his athleticism, his size, his build, this is like the perfect, ideal person to have returning your kickoffs this year, just because he could easily go break one because of how big and physical he is. So there's one guy, and then obviously you have a lot of the young freshman wide receivers out there. I think I saw, like Faison was out there returning, Luke Doty. I believe I saw maybe Jalen Kilgore out there too. There were a lot of guys out there returning kickoffs and punts, and I think you'll have a lot of options. But I think Harbor's definitely the main one to keep an eye on as far as kickoffs go.
It makes the most sense for Harbor if he is indeed the fastest person on the team, which that is very likely the case. There's less technicality to returning kicks, I feel like. Again, it's still a hard thing to do, but it's more about making sure your blocks are there, finding the holes, and if there's anything on a football field that kind of equates to straight line speed, it will be a kickoff return where, okay, you can get past that first level blocker of a guy's trying to get you, and then you're out in open space and then off to the races there. By the way, could you imagine? We talk about the Leggett kickoff return touchdown against A&M being like one of the loudest Willie B moments. Let Harbor return a kickoff 100 yards at home. That place is going to lose its mind. That might be the loudest thing ever because we've been waiting for that moment, right? Whether it be as a receiver, whether it be his kick returner, where he just shows that speed from one end of the field to the other. And it hasn't really happened yet. And if it does, especially if it happens on a kickoff return, I know Willie Reed doesn't have a roof on it, but it would blow the roof off the place.
Oh, yeah. We've seen the moments where he's really had some nice plays. Like, I think towards the end of the year last year, he really did come into his own. And it's like, hey, you can count on this guy as a trustworthy receiver. And I think that's what we're going to see this year more so is that I think eventually someone's going to have to take the reins and become that top target. I think it's either him, Jared Brown, or Mazio Bennett. I think one of those three guys, and I feel like that's probably an easy way to look at it, one of those three guys will take a hold of this thing and become the top target for sure. Could it be Harbor? Most definitely. And I think we will see him be counted on much more. He had a good year last year, I think, for as many targets and catches as he had. You hope it's even more this year, and he can have that Xavier Leggett type of year. Even if it's not 1,000 yards, we're talking like maybe like 500-600 yards.
Sure.
That's almost a 300-yard improvement on what he did this past year. So hopefully he can take big steps forward, and then also in the return game, if that ends up being the case, hopefully he's able to break out and bust one.
Punt returner, a little bit different again. Juju McDowell has handled a lot of that. Jalen Kilgore's done it in the past here at South Carolina, and I will say it's a different set of skills because, again, it's not just about getting it and trying to return it. You're also assessing the situation of, okay, how is the defenders bearing down on me? Where am I at? Am I calling for a fair catch? There's a lot that goes into punt return that's a little bit more technical. I would think Jalen Kilgore is probably leading the way with that without actually knowing. But this seems to me, and there's a lot of these young guys, Donovan Murph, Lex Cyrus, Brian Rowe, Jaden Sellers, this could be a situation where one of those young wide receivers could find a significant amount of playing time by maybe being the primary punt returner.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, we've talked about it before. Not every freshman wide receiver is probably going to play consistent snaps this year. You only have a few, I think, that will probably crack the rotation of guys that will see snaps at receiver. So the other way to get involved, as we all know, is special teams, and that's typically how guys, young guys in particular, have chiseled out their roles over the years. And then, obviously as the years go on, they're able to come into their own and at their own position and whatnot. But I could definitely see a situation here. Like I saw Donovan Murph returning punts the other day. You had some other guys, like a lot of the freshman wide receivers were involved in those drills. So it would not surprise me at all if you see one of those young guys back there, just because there's not as much risk with one of those guys compared to Jalen Kilgore, Nick Harbor, Rasul Faison, one of those guys.
Do we have any inkling on who the fastest of those freshmen are as far as receivers?
One name I consistently heard get brought up, because I was asking a few of these guys the other day, like, who's like the freshman wide receiver that has stuck out the most? Brian Rowe Jr. was the consistent name brought up, and it's easy to see why. He had a great spring game. He's one of the more talented guys in that room for sure. Like, if we're talking about a freshman receiver that I think is going to make a big impact this year, it's probably him.
Yeah, and maybe that'll come in the form of special teams as well. We'll certainly have to see. Wanted to hit this as well. This just coming out a little bit earlier on this morning. Bruce Feldman has put out his freaks list for 2025. Unfortunately, Nick Harbor is not a three-time number one on this list. He was first ever back-to-back the prior 2 years. He is now slipped to number 3.
That's a shame, to be honest. So hopefully hopefully Nick will prove the people wrong going into this season. But he's definitely a freak for sure, no doubt.
And I think that the lack of overall production up to this point probably dings him a little bit, because the reason for putting him number one was like, hey, this guy, freak athlete, obviously, when it comes to running track and stuff like that, but we've not fully seen it on display on the field as of yet. And let's be honest, the two guys in front of him, Jeremiah Smith and Caden Proctor, have been high-level producers in their very short college careers so far.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Nick's going to have a good season. I think he's going to be a lot of fun to watch. But the other two guys you just mentioned, I mean, look, those guys are absolute freaks in their own right. But Nick, we'll see. I mean, he's got the most potential to be the biggest freak by the end of the year.
Also, Lenore Sellers makes his way on this list, by the way, as well, at number 33, I believe is the highest rated quarterback here, which, again, if you're a casual football fan and you're just looking at highlights, some of those things that Sellers did last year, especially making plays happen out of nothing, was pretty freaky.
Yep, number 33 on that list, and it's easy to see why. I mean, again, he's a special athlete, and both those guys are, so it makes sense why they're both on this list.
Yeah, absolutely. So good to see those guys get represented there. And, again, hopefully that freakiness on this list continues to transfer over to what's happening on the field. We had quite a situation unfolding in Bristol, Tennessee this past Saturday as the Atlanta Braves and the Cincinnati Reds played in the Speedway Classic, and boy, a lot went wrong. We'll discuss that coming up next. It is The Extra Point. Tyler Head and Jack Beltry along with you on your Monday on The Game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network. When Carolina head football coach Shane Beamer talks.
Just so blessed to be able to be a part of this rivalry.
You hear it here.
So much respect for Clemson. I mean, that was a great college football game.
Because it's always Gamecock season on The Game.
Tyler Ed here for our friends over at Canty Foundation Specialist. Weather's been kind of disgusting over the past couple days, and rain's going to be consistently in the forecast for about the next week or so. If you have an open crawl space under your home and recently experienced one of these storms, you might have some standing water under there. I've told you many, many times, but I'll remind you once again, standing water can create so many issues under your home. It can create mold. It can invite pests like termites into your home. It can even affect the air that you and your family breathe, because about half the air in your home does indeed come from your crawl space. That's why you need to get your crawl space checked out if you're having any issues with our friends at Canty Foundation Specialist. Go online to schedule an appointment today at cantycanfixit.com. They'll come out, assess your crawl space issues, and get them fixed so you and your family can live without worry going forward. Again, go online to schedule an appointment today at cantycanfixit.com for our friends at Canty Foundation Specialist.
Average Owls. Our chairs sit, our tables stand.
You're not average. Your marketing results shouldn't be either. Cumulus Digital outperforms industry benchmarks by over 25%. See what Smarter Digital can do for you at cumulusdigital.com.
Skip the oil frying with air. Like a Bosch. Crispy like the county fair. Like a Bosch. Cook like a Bosch.
Go inside Krager Showrooms, formerly The Nest, in the Vista to find out how you can cook like a Bosch.
Looking for a dealership that treats you like family? Come to Herndon Chevrolet, where we've been proudly serving Lexington and the Midlands for over 50 years. Whether you're shopping for a new or pre-owned vehicle or just need expert service, you'll find it all right here. Shop online anytime at HerndonChevy.com or stop by and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile.
Powered by Integrated Media, The Game TV, sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass, shepherdsglass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia, The Game TV, sponsored by Shepherd's Glass.
Hey, this is Jen Jensen for CHW Cabinetry. My family is using CHW Cabinetry, and they are fantastic to work with. They make sure you're satisfied with every step of the process. Not only do their photorealistic renderings show exactly what your new space will look like, their job site guarantees everyone is on the same page, literally. Experience the CHW difference for yourself. Go to chwcabinetry.com to see more or call them at 803-520-6837 and be sure to tell them Jen Jensen sent you. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation.
When you get hurt
only get one shot to get it right. And too often, insurance companies have a plan to pay you as little as possible. But you don't have to put up with that. You deserve better when you're hurt. At the Jeffcoat firm, we fight back. Fast, hard, and smart. Call Jeffcoat. All hours, every day. 803-200-2000. The longer you wait, the more the insurance company gets the advantage.
Responsible attorney Michael Jeffcoat, 1333 Main Street, Columbia.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, and because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Extra Point with Tyler Head and Jack Veltri from Gamecock Central on the Game Network and the 107.5 The Game app.
Hit hard, deep to left field. It is gone. Eli White with a 3-run home run to put the Braves in front.
Welcome back in. It is the Extra Point. Tyler Head and Jack Veltri along with you here on your Monday on the Game. That was the call yesterday afternoon. Atlanta Brave Eli White hitting one of 2 home runs in their victory over the Cincinnati Reds at the Speedway Classic. By the way, this will be a fun trivia question one day down the line. Eli White becomes the first ever Major League Baseball player to hit a home run in the state of Tennessee, as well as the first one ever hit one at a racetrack, as that was at Bristol Motor Speedway. It was supposed to be played on Saturday, rain delayed to Sunday.
Yep, and I saw the helmet he was wearing is going to be on its way to the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. So
very cool.
Very, very cool for him. But the bigger story from this, you mentioned Saturday.
Yeah.
The weather was just, it looked awful. And, I knew some people that were there and whatnot. And you see the rumblings online. It was not quite the experience I think many people wanted compared to the other events that the MLB has done at Field of Dreams, London. This just seemed to be a catastrophic mess, as we'll get into.
The concept of playing it at Bristol is really cool, and I thought the construction, I thought they did a really good job. Obviously, you were able to pack a lot of people in there, which is really, really neat. But unfortunately, the execution of actually putting the event on itself seems to be where this, ended up coming up short. And I'm not sure what your people that you knew were there told you, but I had a friend that was there as well, and I was asking him about his experience yesterday, and it pretty much lined up with what I saw a lot of people saying online in terms of concessions and the traffic and all that kind of stuff. This really ended up kind of being a nightmare.
Yeah, you mentioned the concessions. That was the main thing I saw online and stuff of I saw before the game even started on, I think it was initially Saturday, they ran out of hot dogs. And I saw pictures of people with
the single hot dog with no bun.
Hot dogs with no buns. Then you have nachos with no cheese. So it's literally just chips. I saw, I heard the lines were outrageous. And again, it's a racing venue. It's not going to be an MLB venue where, you have all these different food options. But again, weather aside, the MLB can't control weather, right? That just happened. And it's not their fault that the weather was awful. I don't think they should have started the game at all on Saturday. I think they should just wait until Sunday to play. But you look at the situation. how can you run out of food before the first inning starts? How can, you run out of merchandise? You need all these things to put on an event. Rarely do you ever see this happen where, again, 91,000 people are there. That's great. That's going to be the number that MLB hangs their hat on for the rest of time, and that they set a new record and all that stuff. And they don't care about the rest of the stuff that happened there. But it's just like the food being lackluster, merchandise not being what you need to be. And also, I don't believe with the weather delay and the game being suspended, I don't believe people got their tickets refunded. So you had a situation where a lot of people who were there only for Saturday could not come back on Sunday.
And my friend Dalton, big Braves fan who went up there, he couldn't go back on Sunday, so he only got to see basically an inning on Saturday night. Here's what he texted me yesterday. He said, the concessions were a disaster. At the place right behind our seats, they had 1 of 6 of the concession windows open. I waited 45 minutes in line for a water and a Diet Coke.
Oh my God.
Got to the window, and the woman goes, "We only have room temperature Diet Coke since we ran out of ice." This was before the game even started. He would go on to say, my best guess is they were just truly underestimating what 85,000 people would look like. And he is somebody that goes to Bristol for the NASCAR races quite a bit. So he's seen what this venue does when putting on a proper race, which no problems there. I think, because a lot of people are saying, okay, where does the blame go here? Does it go to Major League Baseball? Does it go to the track itself? This really seems like Major League Baseball dropped the ball, because this is their event being put on at this track, but it seems like a lot of the logistics were handled by Major League Baseball, and how you look at your ticket sales, the amount of people that are going to come through the gate and not account for that with your food, with not just with the food, with how many concession stands you had operating, and as well as traffic control. He also said, then we sat in the parking lot for nearly 2 hours before we even moved after the game was called. Traffic control was nowhere to be found. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, that's another thing I heard, that parking was terrible there. Traffic was awful. I mean, it's just, this was a complete and utter disaster by Major League Baseball and Rob Manfred at the top of it as the commissioner. And I think that's where the blame squarely falls. Like, you're not going to, when you look at this, when you look back at the situation, you're blaming MLB. I mean, this is their event, like you said, Tyler, and they did a horrendous job with it. And then you see the crowd on Sunday, and that stadium was only half full. I mean, there were so many empty seats in the outfield. And look, it looked cool compared to like Saturday night when they had that place full before the weather really started getting out of hand. It looked awesome, but they blew it, and you gave fans a terrible experience. And imagine that's the first time that the average fan is just going to a game. They're never coming back because they see that, and it's like, oh, it must be like that everywhere else.
Yeah, and again, just kind of looking at it from the television standpoint, if you're sitting, because they had the temporary stands that were right there by the field, but if you were in what I imagine were the cheaper seats where you're actually in the proper stadium seating, you're really far away. You're not actually getting to see baseball up close and personal, as opposed to if you went to Truist Field or Truist Park or something along those lines. So you're paying for the experience of being there and to say that you were at this historic event. But I don't think Major League Baseball reciprocated enough of that back to you I don't know if they're ever going to do this again. But if they do, God, they got to plan this thing out better. Because, again, here's the thing. This wasn't like, because I know people were saying, oh, this is like the Fire Fest of Major League Baseball. With Fire Fest, the event never happened. Like, they really scammed those people. I don't feel like people were getting scammed here. I just feel like the planning was not done well enough. And this was announced like 18 months ago.
It could have been avoided.
It was announced forever ago. So you feel like between then and now, especially as you see the amount of people that are going to be coming in, you could plan it out better. And for whatever reason, they didn't.
You would think a corporation like Major League Baseball would be able to plan this thing out well. They knew it was going to be a sold-out crowd. Like, you know how many people would probably just travel across the country just to come to Bristol for this event? Because it probably will be the only time Major League Baseball goes there. I just don't see it happening again, especially with, I think one of the main reasons we saw Bristol be selected this year was the fact that they've been doing the Field of Dreams game for the last few years, and that has gone really, really well. I believe the Field of Dreams field out in Iowa is under construction, construction. So it's getting, not, I can't remember the right word for it, but it's getting updated, right?
Yeah,
so I'm assuming they'll go back there next year. I just can't see them ever going back to Bristol. They got their record. I'm sure they want to do it right in the future, But it's not even just the fact of like the weather. It was like, again, it was a disaster from every other standpoint. And it got to a point where Sunday, people were allowed to bring their own food into the stadium, which you see happen sometimes at MLB games. But that just shows that, hey, they did not plan to have as much food as they probably should have for this event.
And I do wonder if there comes to the point where, like, Major League Baseball maybe thought the track was handling things, and the track thought maybe Major League Baseball was handling things, and at some point in the process, they're like, oh, bleep, the other side wasn't doing what we thought they were going to do, and you have to kind of scramble. So there might have been an element of that, but, yeah, this was embarrassing on a lot of fronts.
Yeah.
Again, the game is fine at the end of the day.
Yeah, but it's not worth.
No, I did think the home run car was kind of neat.
That is pretty cool.
'Cause at least you're kind of embracing what this thing is with something unique like that. But with all that went into making this happen, I don't think it's worth it.
The MLB has done such better events. London has always been a really cool event. I like it when they go to Japan, and I'm trying to think of other places they've been. They've been to Australia before. They've done it really well, supposedly, at those countries or those venues. And then Field of Dreams has been awesome. Even the Little League World Series, I'm sure they're going back to the Little League World Series this year to do their event there again. But for whatever reason, the biggest venue they pick, they really botched. And it's like you come to expect MLB to do a better job. And we can blame Bristol, we can blame the venue, the concessions on those people all we want. At the end of the day, it is an MLB event, and they are the ones that should know better than anyone. You're going to have a packed house. Accommodate for those people that are all going to be there. It's not like they're not going to buy food or they're not going to buy drinks or beer and they're not going to buy merch. They're getting all this stuff.
Sure.
And so better accommodate, make traffic flow a little bit better, make it a better experience for the fan, because you might end up losing a lot of those fans that were there for the first time.
We'll discuss what non-traditional venues did go really, really well. Coming up next is wrap up hour number 1 of the Extra Point. Tyler Head and Jack Beltry on your Monday here on The Game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network. The Game Network keeps growing. Details soon from The Game.
This is Boomer Esiason with a Sports Minute, sponsored by Staybill. At every fill-up or when you store, start with Staybill. Visit sta-bil.com for more information. One of the most touching moments at this weekend's Pro Football Hall of Fame ceremonies was watching the entire stadium crowd rise to sing happy birthday to former Bills coach Marv Levy, who turned 100 yesterday. I'm Boomer Esiason.
If you've got a gas-powered engine, keep it running like new at every fill-up. Stable in-season protection is your engine's preventative medicine, cleaning and protecting the entire fuel system in season. In outdoor power equipment, prevent gum and varnish buildup that could cause a rough or non-running engine. For cars and trucks, increase fuel efficiency and power by removing deposits, ensuring your engine's long-term health. Stable outperforms the competition in independent lab testing. So at every fill-up, start with Stable.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The back-to-school deals at Kohl's are so good, it'll feel like spoiling yourself. With 20% off the stuff your kids will actually wear, like jeans, tees, sneakers, and more. You can do it all without overdoing your budget. See? Sometimes parents get spoiled too. Head to Kohl's or Kohls.com to start the year off right for less. Select styles. Coupon ends August 10th. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohls.com for details.
Some things can steal your sunshine. Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken.
Aww.
Anyone
Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
The back-to-school deals at Kohl's are so good, it'll feel like spoiling yourself. With 20% off the stuff your kids will actually wear, like jeans, tees, sneakers, and more. You can do it all without overdoing your budget. See? Sometimes parents get spoiled too. Head to Kohl's or Kohls.com to start the year off right for less. Select styles. Coupon ends August 10th. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohls.com for details.
Some things can steal your sunshine. Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Extra Point with Tyler Head and Jack Veltri from Gamecock Central on the Game Network and the 107.5 The Game app.
Welcome back in. It is the Extra Point. Tyler Head and Jack Veltri along with you on your Monday here on the Game. Reminder again, the Game Summer Golf Classic coming up Friday, August 22nd out at Charwood Golf Club in West Columbia. If you want to sign up, it's $400 for a team. Give Charwood a call at 803-755-2000 and press the number 2 to sign up. We talked about in the last segment there the Speedway Classic and the disaster that it was on a lot of counts this past weekend. But, you know, sports, even Major League Baseball as well, in non-traditional venues has gone really, really well. When you think of the best sporting events to take place in these non-traditional places, what are kind of at the top of your list? Like, what in your opinion have been the best ones?
As I mentioned a little bit in the last segment, I think MLB has done a really good job with the other events that they've done in the past. I think Field of Dreams has been really perfect, honestly. Like with the two games that they've had there with the Yankees and White Sox and the Cubs and Reds 2 years ago, fantastic. They've done a really good job embracing the baseball tradition, the film itself, and making it a really cool experience for fans. Like, you see the videos online, it looks awesome. I always like seeing college. I think college football's even done a pretty good job. Like, they were going to Ireland last year. Mm-hmm. That looked really cool. I'm glad they're going back again this year for Iowa State, Kansas State. So I think college football doesn't necessarily need to go overseas, but it's cool when they do. And then you see, like college basketball going on the naval ships and stuff.
Yeah.
That stuff's always super, super fun.
The Carrier Classic, which they did bring back a couple years ago, I thought was really neat. And like, basketball is that sport because it's played, the court itself is the smallest, I guess, out of all professional sports, right there with hockey, because the rink and the court are about the same size, but it's the smallest actual, like, playing surface that you have. So you have a lot of flexibility to be able to do something like that with it. Again, play it on an aircraft carrier or whatever it may be. And I wish they would bring that back because that was really, really cool and something that was unique to only college basketball, which I thought they did really well. I thought when college football did the battle at Bristol with Tennessee and Virginia Tech back in 2016, thought that was very well done. From what I recall, I don't recount seeing any disasters like we saw at Speedway Classic. And here's the funny thing. You had about twice as many people there for that one.
That's like 70,000 more people.
It was like 160,000 total people there for that. And, again, they didn't seem to have any issues. Now, again, from the people that I knew that went, the sight was terrible because if you're in the stands proper, you are so far away from the field. It was probably really hard to tell what's going on because I don't know if people realize how big Bristol Motor Speedway is. You could realistically fit about 2 Major League Baseball stadiums inside of it. Mm-hmm. So if you're sitting in one of the turns and, Tennessee and Virginia Tech are on the other end of the field on the goal line, I mean, they're a good quarter-ish mile, more than that, half mile almost away from you. Like, that's how far that is.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and we're talking about filling up the full bowl, right,
Yep.
at Bristol, which the MLB, they only had to fill up about, what would you say? Not even half. I would say like three-fourths of it, probably.
Yeah, maybe about half, because they were just down on, I think that was turns 1 and 2 they were down in where the stadium itself was, because, yeah, the back half, you wouldn't have been able to see anything anyway. So, you know, you're only sitting in stands where you could feasibly actually see the field. So, yeah, they were working with from about half of the stadium, I feel like. And they did have some seats down there closer to the field, which I can't imagine how much those things cost.
No.
But, yeah, again, it's just you're working with half the crowd, but somehow it still goes wrong like that. Yeah, they need to – Major League Baseball's got to look themselves in the mirror at that one and figure out how they screwed that up.
I just don't get it. I really, really don't. Like, it's one thing if you just hear the rumblings of like, oh man, this happened and stuff, but then you get like photo evidence of like hot dogs with no buns, nachos with no cheese. How do you have? What is it?
Well, they're not nachos anymore.
They're just chips. They're just stale, probably chips.
Do you think they reduced the price for those, by the way?
No, of course they didn't. That's the other thing I saw was that the price remained the same for all this stuff. But it's also like, if you're a fan, I get you're hungry probably, but why are you buying that stuff then? Like,
well, I mean, you couldn't bring in food. And listen, if you think about it like this, because the game was supposed to start at like 7:15, 7:20 or whatever on Saturday. So feasibly, you're probably getting there around 5:30 or 6. Make sure you get in, find your seat, and all that kind of stuff. You know, it delays. The game didn't start until like 9:40. They played a inning, and then it got delayed, which it took until, almost 11 for the game to finally be postponed to the next day. So, understandably, you could have been in there for about 5 hours. You got to eat something at some point, right? Especially if they can't allow you to bring food in.
Again, MLB is going to ride on their horse about how they had 91,000 people there and that it was a great day and all that stuff. Again, they're lucky because they could take the official number from Saturday.
Yes.
But you look at Sunday, man. I mean, there were a lot of empty seats there. So,
but it's all about tickets sold.
It's all about tickets sold. So again, it's disappointing from that standpoint of like, hey, this could have been really, really cool, really special. But it's hopefully they never go back there again. Hopefully they just have a better thought out plan, because something like that, you can't have that many people there and not account for that many people.
My question is, how long until in the NFL tries to set their own attendance record by playing a game there?
Well,
it's got to happen, right?
I mean, they are expanding to they've been to London, they've been to Mexico, Germany.
But there are no other venues that can offer you that many seats.
And I'm telling you, an NFL game, like college football can do it, the NFL would pack that place out.
Absolutely.
I mean, it'd be crazy.
It's only a matter of time.
It is only a matter of time.
But for hour number 1, coming up next in hour number 2, we'll dive back into what Coach Beamer had to say last Thursday about this team in 2025. It's coming up next. Tyler Head, Jack Beltry with you on your Monday on the Game.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at HerndonChevy.com.
Hey y'all, Jay Phillips here from my good friends at Dan's Van City in Harbison. Ceiling fans don't sound like something you think about a lot because you don't really need to, but when you've got good ones, they work so well, keeping energy costs down and your comfort level up. All kinds of fans at Dan's Fan City, big to small and quiet, quality fans. They have accessories and light kits, fan blades, and more. Stop by and see them soon, Harbison Boulevard next to Total Wine, or call Dan's Fan City, 781-FANS. You'll be glad you did.
Powered by Integrated Media, The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduce stroke risk better than warfarin. And over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Calling all Gamecock fans, it's the return of the Garnet and Black Bash at Still Hands Brewing. Put on your Garnet and Black and head out to Still Hands Brewing Saturday, August 16th for this free event featuring Gamecock Central. The festivities start at 5 p.m. and include a food menu inspired by all your tailgate favorites with live music from Ryan Trotty beginning at 6. So come out for the Garnet and Black Bash at Still Hands Brewing Saturday, August 16th from 5 to 10, and we'll see you there.
The Toro Time Cutter Max is built tough and priced right. Now for a limited time, Cato's Power Equipment is offering up to $300 off of most Toro Time Cutter and Time Cutter Max models. Are you interested in paying off your new mower over a few years? No problem. Cato's has financing plans to fit most sizes, budgets, and even less than stellar credit scores. Cato's Power Equipment, Columbia's home for the tools you need to maintain your turf. 4012 West Beltline Boulevard and online at catospowerequipment.com.
Average Amy's. Our coffee has caffeine and our muffins are cooked.
You're not average. Your marketing results shouldn't be either. Cumulus Digital outperforms industry benchmarks by over 25%. Visit cumulusdigital.com to start outperforming today.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, this is Lisa Hosteller-Brown. Do you know the difference between a revocable trust and an irrevocable trust? The difference could easily save you hundreds of thousands of dollars in long-term care costs. Visit lawyerlisa.com to schedule a consultation today.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
Daddy, you need a trust.
Firehouse Subs, Hook and Ladder Jingle, take one.
Hook and ladder, when it's hot, it just tastes better. Warm that smoky turkey, that thin sliced honey.
Guys, this is a 30-second ad. You gotta sing faster.
Hook and ladder, when it's hot, it just tastes better. Melty cheese and toast spread, mustard, mayo, purpose bread, lettuce, green, and onion. The sandwich is too big for the song. It's too big.
The Hook and Ladder, available only at participating Firehouse Subs restaurants.
Home for the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station.
Oh, yeah?
The Extra Point with Tyler Head.
And the kick is good.
Call or text 803-404-6100 on the Game Network.
Hour number 2, welcome back in. It is the Extra Point. Tyler Head along with you here on your Monday on The Game. Getting closer to the start of the football season, 27 days until toe meets leather for South Carolina and LSU. Or not LSU, they're getting set to replay, I think this South Carolina LSU game on the SC Network or something along those lines. But anyway, South Carolina, Virginia Tech in week number 1 at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. That'll kick off year number 5 for Shane Beamer. That is the South Carolina Missouri game they're playing on the LSU on the SEC network. But South Carolina Virginia Tech starting off year number 5 for Shane Beamer coming up here in just 27 days. And I think when you kind of assess everything with this program, you'd say it's been a pretty solid first 5 years for Shane Beamer. I don't know where you put that line of expectation going in to 2021, especially for a guy that had never been head coach before. Obviously, he had the lineage with his dad and what he had done at Virginia Tech, so you knew those genes were in there. But, hey, as we've seen many, many times, just because your dad was a great coach doesn't mean you're going to be anything good. There's been a long list of guys that have just not been able to pan out despite what their last name has ended up being. But I think you would look at what Beamer's accomplished in his first 5 years here at South Carolina and say it's pretty good. We obviously know that he's won more games in his first 4 years than any other coach in South Carolina history. He's made 3 bowls, got 3 wins versus top 10 teams, lots of draft picks, and has been consistently recruiting good classes. So those are all the foundations for having a long, successful tenure, especially at a place like South Carolina. And year number 5, I feel like is a very pivotal year in a lot of ways. In my opinion, proving what this program is going to be going forward, right? Because you've shown a lot of things in the first 4 years. Now is, in my opinion, year number 5 where you kind of affirm things to a lot of people. First, let's hear, going back to Thursday when he spoke with the media, let's hear Coach Beamer give his assessment on things as he heads in to his 5th year as head coach.
Yeah, absolutely. Have there been some has there been adversity that we face? Sure, like any program through the first 4 years, there have been things that we've grown from, but from where we were in December of 2020 when I literally stood in this spot right here and the team was right here because of COVID, and I had my very first team meeting literally right here from that day in December 2020, or in the night before they had been in Lexington, Kentucky, and got, hammered pretty good in Lexington. You come and you go from there to where we are now, that here you are now 5 seasons later, and you've accomplished a lot. You're going into a season where you're probably going to be preseason ranked. People are talking about you as a potential playoff team. We've made a lot of progress, there's no question about it, but also understanding, Phil, that every year is starting over, and this is a new team, and what we did in 2024 was great, but 2025 is a brand new season, and we got a lot of work to do. But absolutely, when you look at what we're doing academically, the fact that the last 2 semesters were the greatest semesters academically in the history of South Carolina football, highest GPAs ever last fall semester, and then we shattered the fall record in the spring with what our guys did academically. The way we're graduating players, so off the field things are going well, culture-wise, making good decisions and doing good things off the field for sure. On the field, what we've accomplished, what we've done, where we've been, but where we're going, recruiting. I understand you're not going to, get all of them, but you also, we've done a lot from a recruiting standpoint, made a lot of progress, and we're still a young team, Phil. I mean, I know there's a lot of expectations for this year's team, and there should be. We got our chance to, I'm excited, and we got our chance to have a really good team, but we're going to be good in years to come as well when you start looking at who could be back in 26 and 27 and beyond, and the guys that are interested in our program right now, and, the guys that may have committed elsewhere that are this summer that are already reaching back out to us saying, hey, coach, y'all still interested as well? I mean, there's a lot of excitement about South Carolina football right now. I'm focused on having a great practice 1 tomorrow, but if somebody had told me in December 2020 we'd be where we are right now going into 2025, I would have taken it.
And, he brings up that point of December of 2020 that when he got hired, he said the night before they were in Lexington, Kentucky getting their butts kicked, which they lost that game 41-18. And look, I was not here covering the program at this point in time. I was watching from across the state line on, what was happening at the end of the Muschamp era and where this program was. And I feel like a lot of people would say that was perhaps the lowest point, at least in recent memory, for where South Carolina football, football was. And to say, 5 years later, or 5 years later, 4 seasons later, getting set for the 5th, you're a team that's being talked about in the playoff conversation. You have a quarterback that's being discussed as a Heisman Trophy candidate. It's being discussed as a possible first-round pick this upcoming year. You've got one of the most exciting second-year true sophomores in the entire country in Dylan Stewart. He played a pivotal role as a true freshman. You've got crazy amounts of talent all over this team in various spots that would excite a lot of people. And again, compared to where you were just 5 years ago, it's a night and day difference, and you attribute so much of that to Shane Beamer and what he's been able to build here in just 4 short seasons at South Carolina. But going back to my main point, I feel like year 5 is where you really have to capitalize, right? Because it seems like not everything's perfect. But it seems like if you're ever going to have a year where you really wow people, this is the year to do it, right? And look, South Carolina as a program is one where windows can vary, right, in terms of pursuing championships and being at the top of college football. You would say when Steve Spurrier was here, that window from 2011 to 2013 where they won 11 games every single year, they capitalized on the window. Now, they did not get all the way to the mountaintop of winning a national championship or winning an SEC championship, but they were in the mix there every single year. They capitalized on that opportunity that was afforded them by that window being opened, and then it closed pretty quickly after that with the 14 season, which was rough. 15 was worse. Spurrier obviously ends up leaving. You had moments of success with Mill Muschamp, but it wasn't anything consistent. You've seen with Coach Beamer, outside of 2023, which was a step back, every other year has been better than what people expected it to be, right? 21, I mean, people were thinking there's no way this team wins 4 games, let alone 6, 7 when you count the bowl game, and they went out there and did that. The next season, it looked dead in the water and looked like they were destined for 6-6, but they pull off 2 of the biggest wins in program history against top 10 teams, effectively ending both those teams' shot at the college football playoff. Again, 23 takes a step back, no denying on that one. And with that, I think that tempered people's expectations for 24, where especially after that first game against Old Dominion, you know, there are many people, even us here locally, that wonder, man, is this team going to be able to win 6 games and get back to a bowl? You proceed to win 9 in the regular season, and you're on the graphic on Selection Sunday of who's getting in and who's being left out of the college football playoff. It obviously didn't go the way you wanted it to go, but still to be in that mix and be in that conversation is something that nobody, maybe outside of Gamecock Larry, could have foresaw before that season started, given the concerns that this team had and what the very early part of the season ended up looking like. And when you look at what you have returning with Sellers, with Dylan Stewart, you've got a lot of guys with very high upside potential at various areas that have, you know, either been high recruits here or coming from other places and, you know, as former high recruits coming out of high school. It seems like if you're really going to do something, this is the year to do it. And I'm not saying that 26, 27, 28, those years can't be great as well, but it seems like the window is as open as it's been in a while here for Carolina to take advantage of it this year. Because, again, you don't know when you're going to have a quarterback the caliber of Lenore Sellers again. Look, we hope Aaron Noland or Cutter Woods or Landon Duckworth, one of those guys ends up being a superstar in their own right. But the history of this program has not been consistently having those guys time in and time out. So you have one right now. You have one that's thought of as one of the best in the sport as of right now. You got to take advantage of it. You've got a phenomenal sophomore coming off the edge in Dylan Stewart that don't come along all that often. You've had plenty of good players, but he's an elite level player that everybody in college football knows about. You got to take advantage while he is still here. Now, yeah, he does still have an extra year of eligibility past this one, but the combination of him on defense and Sellers on offense, that's a very hard thing to nail down. And that is what you have to strike, right? Now, it's not going to be easy because, again, we look at the schedule and how hard it is and, you know, the challenge of getting it back into that 8, 9, 10 win mark. But, you know, it seems like if there was ever a year for it to happen, it should hopefully be this year. Capitalizing what you did a year ago and hopefully taking advantage of this window while it's open. Now, again, when you recruit well, when you get good guys out of the transfer portal, you hope that those windows stay open for a very long period of time. And with programs like Ohio State and Georgia and Texas and Alabama, we just assume they're always going to be in the running because they've built up that equity by playing at a high level for so long. Carolina hasn't done that yet. Last year was really good. It's putting together consistent seasons year after year after year that eventually earns you that benefit of the doubt. And not only from the greater conversation across the landscape of college football where people just look at you and say, oh, yeah, Carolina, they're always going to be good. They're always going to be in the mix for a playoff spot and those kind of things. But that's also how players view you, too. That if the perception of what your program is one that is consistently in or around the college football playoff, in or around fighting for the conference championship, that resonates with players. Because, and yes, I get it, NIL and all that kind of stuff is so huge now, but a lot of players will just want to play for contenders, right? Hey, if I go to Carolina, I know I'm going to play for an SEC championship or I'm going to play for a spot in the college ball playoff. Sounds good to me because typically when you're a more successful team, that helps you get closer to your opportunities of playing at the next level as well. So you almost kind of earn that benefit of the doubt. Again, you're not there yet, but you have an opportunity, I think, to really help solidify the narrative, if that's the word that I'm looking for, by having another strong season this year, especially given the talent that you lost on defense a year ago, where rightfully so, a lot of people are questioning you. A lot of people are doubting, hey, can you be as good, especially defensively, as you were a year ago? I don't know. And if you can back up what you did a year ago by being just as good, if not better, I think that slowly starts to solidify the Beamer era of South Carolina in a lot of people's minds as a team that is always going to be good to overachieving what expectations were for them coming into the season. So we'll see if they can accomplish that this year and how far they can take that and what that means for the program going forward. Connor O'Gara of Saturday Down South put out a story over the weekend of SEC droughts he's expecting to see come to an end this upcoming season. One of those does feature South Carolina. We'll dive into that as well as the other ones he's predicting as well coming up next as the Extra Point rolls along. Tyler Head along with you here on your Monday on The Game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
The Game phone lines at 803-404-6100. Sponsored by AAA Heating and Air. Now offering 12-month payment plans on all HVAC or electrical repairs with no credit check. Online at callAAAtoday.com. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at HerndonChevy.com.
Own or manage a commercial property? When running a business, gutter maintenance can easily slip to the back burner. That's why I call the Gutter Men. They've been South Carolina's most reliable and competitive gutter company for almost 50 years. They're my go-to choice for all my gutter needs.
When it comes to protecting your business, don't wait. Visit theguttermen.com today.
We keep the clutter out of your gutter. Call on the Gutter Men.
Football season is nearly here, and so is your appetite. Score big at your tailgate with Substation 2 USC. Pile on the flavor with their catering boxes, 3-foot and even 6-foot party subs. Whether you're feeding 5 or 50, Substation 2 has got you covered from their Main Street store right by the USC campus. Win your tailgate with Substation USC, where game days taste better. Visit SubstationUSC.com.
When you get hurt, you don't want to end up on the injured list. You want to get back in the game, stronger than ever. At Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm, we fight for you, making sure big insurance doesn't throw you a curveball. With over $25 billion recovered, we're the home run hitters you need.
This is gone!
Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com. Morgan & Morgan is responsible for this ad. John Morgan is licensed in Florida and Tennessee. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Take advantage of Zero Res Carpet Cleaning's Back to School BOGO sale. For a limited time, get 2 rooms cleaned plus 2 additional rooms cleaned for free. Just use promo code BOGO, B-O-G-O, when scheduling online at ZeroResColumbia.com.
Let AAA Heating and Air shine a spotlight on your home comfort. Their experienced HVAC and electrical technicians are here to help. Right now, take advantage of up to 12-month payment plans on HVAC or electrical repairs with no credit check. That's right. Just a valid bank account is all you need. So call AAA Heating and Air today. Homeowners only. Call now to schedule your appointment. 803-677-1500. Tell them Jay Phillips sent you.
AAA Air when you need us. AAA Heating and Air.
Hey, this is Jen Jensen for CHW Cabinetry. My family is using CHW Cabinetry, and they are fantastic to work with. They make sure you're satisfied with every step of the process. Not only do their photorealistic renderings show exactly what your new space will look like, their job site guarantees everyone is on the same page, literally. Experience the CHW difference for yourself. Go to chwcabinetry.com to see more, or call them at 803-520-6837, and be sure to tell them Jen Jensen sent you. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job in ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Average Owls. Our chairs sit, our tables stand.
You're not average. Your marketing results shouldn't be either. Cumulus Digital outperforms industry benchmarks by over 25%. See what Smarter Digital can do for you at cumulusdigital.com.
Oh, yeah. The Extra Point with Tyler Head.
And the kick is good.
Call or text 803-404-6100 on the Game Network.
Welcome back in, Extra Point. Tyler Head along with you on your Monday here on The Game. Mind you, once again, the Game Summer Golf Classic coming Friday, August 22nd at Charwood Golf Club over in West Columbia. Tee time's at 9. Registration does begin at 7:30 that morning. Onion sausages once again on the grill for breakfast, as well as Firehouse subs for lunch. Going to have prizes, and the golf gun makes its return. $400 for a team if you want to take part. 803-755-2000 is the number to call. Press number 2 to sign up over at Charwood Golf Club. Conor O'Gara of Saturday Down South put out a list of 7 droughts in the SEC that he expects to see end this upcoming year. A couple of interesting ones on this list, including number 5, which is South Carolina will have its first all-SEC quarterback at season's end in program history. That's a wild thing to consider, right? And he does note in this article that Connor Shaw very well could have earned that in his time here at Carolina. Mentioned that Sellers probably could have been on that list last year. He notes perhaps the injuries in the first half of the year did ding him a little bit, and that's why Quinn Ewers made the list instead. But regardless, Sellers has as good a shot as anybody to make this list. And again, when we look at the preseason All-SEC team, guess what? He was number 1. Now, yes, that did stir some controversy down there in Baton Rouge with Garrett Nussmeier being the second team. And I'll admit, I had Nussmeier first team and Sellers second team, but I can see where people would come to the conclusion of Sellers being the best of the best in the SEC. And again, if he can stay healthy and have the kind of season we think he's capable of, I don't think there's any doubt in anybody's mind that Sellers can be not just an all-SEC quarterback, but the best SEC quarterback on that all-SEC team at the end of the year. But that, stat there does highlight once again how rare it is for South Carolina to have somebody as good as Lenore Sellers is and be in this kind of position, which goes back to my point of that last segment that you got to strike, right? You're not a program with a history of elite quarterback play. And again, I look at Aaron Nolan, I look at Cutter Woods, I look at what we hear about Landon Duckworth, and you want to think that, okay, yeah, one of those guys is going to take right over, and it's going to be just as good, if not better, as when Sellers was here. You don't know that, right? How many highly regarded guys have come into this program and just ended up being okay or not great? Because there's many, right? Luke Doty was one of the higher-rated quarterbacks in his class. And I get it. He did it deal with some injuries and stuff like that, but nobody saw his career panning out the way that it did. But that's the risk that you take with quarterbacks, because you don't really know until they get there and actually start playing football. But I know one thing. After seeing a full season of Lenore Sellers, I know he is one of the better quarterbacks, if not the best, in all of college football, and has an opportunity to prove that once again this year, and maybe, just maybe, earn himself that accolade of being all SEC like no other quarterback in program history has. And may very well easily be the highest taken quarterback in the history of the program as well, one that doesn't have a rich history of QBs getting drafted. Remember, before Rattler got taken in the 2024 draft, it was Todd Ellis all the way back in the 90s when he went late to the Seahawks. Ninth pick, ninth round, which doesn't even exist anymore, back in 1990. So again, got to strike while the iron's hot, capitalize on a special talent like Norris Sellers while you do still have them. Elsewhere on this list, things that I thought were pretty interesting here. I didn't know this. Lane Kiffin will beat a ranked Power Conference team in a true road game for the first time since 2011. That was when he was back at Southern Cal. They beat Oregon late in the season on the road in Eugene. That was the last time he is being to beat a ranked Power opponent on the road. They did beat Tulane a couple years ago on the road down there in Louisiana. That's, it's not easy, but there's a difference between beating them and beating, say, an LSU or a Florida or something like that on the road this upcoming year. And, when you look at Ole Miss's schedule, they have a tough challenge when it comes to, playing on the road this year, which I guess will net them multiple opportunities to accomplish this feat for the first time since Kiffin's been there. They go to Georgia. They go to Oklahoma. Those are in consecutive weeks, by the way. And that really kind of seems like the opportunity to be playing a ranked team on the road. Because when you go early in the season, they go to Kentucky. That likely won't end up being against a ranked opponent. In fact, that's week 2. I know for sure they won't be against a ranked opponent. And then they go to Mississippi State late in the year. Probably not going to be a ranked opponent either. So Georgia and Oklahoma in back-to-back weeks, October 18th and October 25th, seem like the best opportunity for Lane Kiffin to break that drought of losing to power teams on the road. And I think something like that really kind of illustrates it's not underachieving, but maybe not being able to break through and hit that top of the top in the SEC and college football like Lane Kiffin, unfortunately for him, has not been able to do, right? And look, we think about Lane Kiffin as a really, really good head coach, great offensive mind, all those kind of things, but there seems to be kind of a limit on it. There seems to be something that's holding him back a little bit. And last year, based on how expensive that roster was, for what we knew about it at least, it seemed like a sure thing that Ole Miss was going to be able to make the playoff, especially that team that came in here and mauled South Carolina for 4 quarters in that beat down of victory. But they somehow lost to Kentucky. They lost to Florida late in the late in the season. They lost, I believe that game was on the road in Baton Rouge to LSU in overtime. There comes a point where you have to prove that you are the caliber of coach people think that you are. And I guess when you kind of look at this stat that they've just not been able to win on the road against power opponents, ranked power opponents, that is, underscores that, Kiffin still has some work to do. And again, if you beat one, does that suddenly get you rolling? Maybe. But he's going to have, again, 2 probably ample opportunities against Georgia and Oklahoma in the middle of the season to maybe get that monkey off his back. Some other things on this list that are interesting. So Oklahoma will have a top 20 scoring defense for the first time since 2009. That's actually not as surprising, I guess, all things considered, because the late Stoops era into Lincoln Riley leaned, especially once Lincoln Riley got in there, leaned heavily on offense and offensive firepower. For a while, their defense was nowhere to be found in Norman, Oklahoma, and Brent Venables has brought that identity back. They were, I think, 26th in scoring defense a year ago, so they don't have far to go, and I don't think anybody here denies that Oklahoma team that's going to come into Williams-Brice Stadium in the middle of October is probably going to be pretty darn good defensively. Now, can they be to that elite level of being in the top 20? We'll have to see, but that's not something that's that far off. It doesn't seem like it's, climbing a mountain to get there when it comes to Oklahoma in what could be the last year under Brent Venables. Florida, looking for its first 1,000-yard receiver since Taylor Jacobs since 2002. There's been a lot of really good receivers that have come into Gainesville over the years, but for whatever reason, look, 1,000 yards hard to hit, especially in college because you're playing fewer games. I would have thought somebody, maybe Percy Harvin or someone along those lines, would have eclipsed that since then, but that is not the case. O'Gara points to Trey Harris as, Trey Wilson, as being a very likely candidate to potentially eclipse that this upcoming year. Number 1 on his list is Texas, and I think this is probably definitely going to happen. Texas won its first preseason number 1 AP poll ranking in program history. Believe that or not, as successful as Texas has been in its history, it has never, ever earned the distinction of being a preseason number 1. What's that worth? I don't know. Not a whole lot. It's just, again, a number next to a name that, in today's world of college football doesn't really count towards how we crown champions or anything like that. It does start the perception of you from the beginning of the year that, hey, you're supposed to be the best team. Anybody that beats you will have beaten a number 1 team. And I think we're only, because the AP poll should come out here in maybe the next week or so leading up to the season. I fully expect Texas to be number 1. With the amount of money they spend on their roster, the polarizing quarterback in Arch Manning, a team that's been on the doorstep of making the national championship the past 2 years, it seems like a foregone conclusion that they will finally earn that first ever preseason AP poll number 1 ranking coming up here very soon to start the season. And the last thing that Connor O'Gara predicts will come to an end as far as droughts in the SEC is the SEC will put a team in the national championship for the first time since the 2022 season, where, of course, Georgia mauled TCU in that national championship. It is kind of weird, right? These past 2 years between the Michigan-Washington game and Ohio State and Notre Dame, that there's just been no SEC representation in the national championship, when for the better part of the past decade and a half, it's been all SEC, not only being in it, but winning it. This seems like hopefully the year they get back on track. Now, again, you have a lot of viable options outside of the SEC in Ohio State, Penn State, who I think may be best conditioned to win a national championship for the first time, at least in the James Franklin era. So it's not going to be easy. Notre Dame looks to stands to be pretty good again this year. Clemson, I think, is one of the odds-on favorites to win the whole thing given their roster construction. But, man, it would be very uncomfortable if the SEC went 3 straight years without putting a team at least in the national championship, at least, if not winning the thing. And, again, I fully expect, whether it be Texas or Georgia or Alabama or whoever, I fully expect that drought to come to an end. Out of all these on this list, I'd say that one with maybe not the most confidence, but pretty high to the most confidence as one I do see coming to an end this upcoming season. Speaking of droughts coming to an end, over the weekend, the drought of no SEC or no SC football players making the Pro Football Hall of Fame did indeed come to an end. We'll talk about Sterling Sharp and future Gamecocks that might have a case for making the Hall of Fame themselves coming up next as the Extra Point rolls along. It's Howard Head along with you on your Monday here on The Game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
Hate paying for streaming? Well, the 107.5 The Game app is free. Yes, free. Just download the 107.5 The Game app.
Calling all Gamecock fans, it's the return of the Garnet and Black Bash at Still Hands Brewing. Put on your Garnet and Black and head out to Still Hands Brewing Saturday, August 16th for this free event featuring Gamecock Central. The festivities start at 5 p.m. and include a food menu inspired by all your tailgate favorites with live music from Ryan Trotty beginning at 6. So come out for the Garnet and Black Bash at Still Hands Brewing Saturday, August 16th from 5 to 10, and we'll see you there.
Better than average grass cutters deserve better than average lawnmowers. The all-new Gravely Pro Stance Ultra is built to be outstanding in every way. With the best-in-class 35-horsepower Kawasaki motor, beefed-up Parker transaxles, and 17 gallons of fuel capacity to keep you cutting longer, stronger, and smoother. This is Ben Cato, third-generation owner of Cato's Power Equipment. Columbia's home for the tools you need to maintain your turf. Located at 4012 West Beltline Boulevard, or always online at catospowerequipment.com.
Quietest dishwasher in the land. Like a Bosch. Dishes drier than the desert sand. Like a Bosch. Wash the dishes like a Bosch.
Check out the selection of Bosch dishwashers at Krager Showrooms, formerly The Nest on Gadsden Street in the Vista.
Looking for a dealership that treats you like family? Come to Herndon Chevrolet, where we've been proudly serving Lexington and the Midlands for over 50 years. Whether you're shopping for a new or pre-owned vehicle or just need expert service, you'll find it all right here. Shop online anytime at HerndonChevy.com or stop by and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile, smile.
At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we know how serious injuries change people's lives. I'm Jason Reynolds. When you're involved in a major car or truck accident, my team is on your side. You don't have to be alone. Let's do this together.
And I'm Steven Samuels. When you're hurt at work, my team is with you from start to finish. We're people with a passion for helping injured workers. Bring your case to us and stop the worrying. We've got this.
Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 803-779-4000.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/radio to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio. HIMS.com/RADIO.
Hey, this is Ray.
And Mary Ann with Absolute Glass.
We've been blessed to serve the Midlands glass needs for 20 years.
We have been fortunate enough to help thousands of customers with the best glass service in town, in our store, and all over the Midlands.
Sure, we can fix your windshield, usually at no cost to you.
But at Absolute Glass, we can also care for all your other glass needs, too.
Home windows, shower doors, tabletops, shelving, storefronts, and all your commercial needs.
Contact us at 803-951-7200 or at AbsoluteGlassInc.com.
Just remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
It's part sports.
We have football on the brain.
Part pop culture.
Dennis Leary. True or false? You refuse to wear a glove with Mickey Mantle's signature on it for the movie The Sandlot.
The Red Sox blood, the Brewers blood, they run deep.
And in the best celebrity interviews.
Robert De Niro here on The Rich Eisen Show. How are you, sir?
Just got over a 24-hour virus.
The antidote is to appear on The Rich Eisen Show.
There you go. I would have just done it earlier.
And you've got The Rich Eisen Show podcast.
There is a medicinal quality to appearing on this program.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
What team sprung a leak this weekend? Sponsored by American Leak Detection on the Extra Point.
Welcome back in. It is the Extra Point. Tyler Head with you on your Monday here on The Game. We'll get into Sterling Sharp and the NFL Hall of Fame coming up here in just a second. First, it is time for Who Sprung a Leak, brought to you by our friends over at American Leak Detection. And loop back around to what Jack and I talked about at the end of last hour. It does have to go to the Speedway Classic at Bristol Motor Speedway over the weekend. The game itself, fine. Braves pick up a win over the Reds. Delayed by rain from Saturday night to Sunday afternoon. Unfortunately, the execution on the part of Major League Baseball did seem to leave a lot to be desired, with lack of concession stands in general, lack of food available at the concession stands that were open, traffic being a nightmare. It just seemed like Major League Baseball didn't nail the logistics of this the way they needed to, which is unfortunate for a lot of people that flocked out there to be a part of a historic event, to be disappointed there, which is very unfortunate. So Major League Baseball got to do better. Got to do a lot better than that when it comes to an event like this. I don't know if it's going to happen again, but if it does, better planning going into it to account for the 85 to 90,000 people that do end up showing up for it. Saturday afternoon, though, in Canton, Ohio, was a very special day for a lot of people, including...
Yeah, I would hope that was the whole reason we did it. I hope we don't have to send it to them. I hope they're watching it.
Not trying to play that there. Sorry. Important day for a lot of people within the Gamecock fandom, as Sterling Sharp was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
You see, you have to learn to follow before you can lead. And the only reason I'm standing here is because when I read my Bible, it talks about Jesus and how he gave his life for us. When you love someone enough to give your life for, let me tell you what else you'll do, Summer Olivia. you'll love them to the point you will live your life with them as well. I love you, Summer, like I love this guy standing next to me. Thank you very much for letting me take up 4 minutes and 58 seconds of your time.
So that was the end of his speech on Saturday. As, again, a well-deserved honor for Sterling Sharpe to go into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Long overdue. Of course, his career cut short due to injuries, and it's taken a long time for him to get the recognition I feel like he deserves in a lot of ways, just because he didn't play for as long. And really, these past handful of years, he's been out of the spotlight as far as media stuff goes. And I will say, I think his brother Shannon, with his platforms of vouching for him, has been a reason why his name did kind of come back up and eventually led to him getting put in the Pro Football Hall of Fame over the weekend. Because unfortunately, for as great of a player as he was in that short time in the NFL, and I know he did some media stuff after that, but in these past handful of years, it's been a lot more quiet. So his name's not been out there and has been featured as much, which can tend to make you not as notable when people are talking and discussing these things. But finally, that error has been corrected, and he is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I did think it was interesting, though, and I want your take on this. 803-404-6100 on the Firehouse Subs text line, because he did mention South Carolina in his speech, but only briefly and not exactly in the way that I think a lot of people expected.
You see, I'm not going to bore you with talks at the University of South Carolina because, well, without them, unlike Antonio Gates, I had to go to college and play football to have a chance to stay here. So I'm not going to bore you in talking about them.
I did see a lot of people push back on that this past weekend, taking some kind of offense to it. And look, I didn't go to South Carolina. I'm not an alum of the university. I can't speak from the perspective of how that makes me feel, because I don't have the same connection to it that you might out there listening. So 803-404-6100, I want to get your thoughts on how you felt with that being the mention of South Carolina in Sterling Sharpe's speech. And look, he was just on the Club Shay Shay podcast the other day with his brother, talking a lot about South Carolina and, the love he has for the school. I know there's the conversation of, is there a rift between Sterling Sharpe and South Carolina and all this kind of stuff. And he went under his time limit, too. He could have spoke for longer, so you could have expanded on, what Joe Morrison or other people here at South Carolina meant to you. I just thought it was interesting that he decided to not go that route when it came to really talking about South Carolina in his speech. So if that bothers you, let me know. 803-404-6100. Would love to get some of your insights on that. But I think it begs the question, because, again, now the drought that no Carolina player had ever been inducted in the Pro Football Hall of Fame does indeed come to an end. I think it now begs the question of, okay, well, who's next, right? Who could potentially be the next Gamecock to get themselves a gold jacket? And the one that, to me, kind of jumps in the front of the line is John Abraham. Of course, very, very long NFL career, 15 seasons he played. He played one game in his final season, but we'll still give him that nod that, he still hung around for basically a decade and a half. Very, very consistent pass rusher, double-digit sacks, and basically about half of his career seasons in the NFL. And I think especially when you look at the fact that Jared Allen went in, this past weekend, extremely comparable numbers. Now, Jared Allen played for a shorter period of time in terms of total years in the league. His career was just a tick over a decade, and he dealt with injuries over his career. In terms of total games played, John Abraham's only played in 5 more total regular season games than Jared Allen did, and is only behind him by 3 or 2.5 sacks. So numbers extremely comparable. Obviously, was very important to the Falcons in the late 2000s into early 2010s, and the successes those teams had. Obviously, and again, for somebody to be playing as consistent as he was, his next to last year, his last full year in 2013, he had 11.5 sacks. So he played at a high level all the way through towards the end of his career, which is a very hard thing to do, especially at a position like edge. So I think he makes a very good case to potentially being in the Hall of Fame here very soon. I know he was on the list of the initial candidates this past year. Didn't get too far into that process, but I fully expect in the near future he'll get his name called. When you look at the entire list of sack leaders in NFL history, he sits 13th, right behind Jared Allen. Everybody in the top 12, the exception of Terrell Suggs, is currently an NFL Hall of Famer. Terrell Suggs made it to the semifinalist list this year. No, I think he made the finalist list this year. Did not get picked, but so he'll have his name called for too long. And again, it would just naturally assume that John Abraham is not that far behind him when it comes to his gold jacket. By the way, when you look at 14th on the list, which is Leslie O'Neal, not in, but Lawrence Taylor is in. Von Miller will likely be in. He's still playing right now. Ricky Johnson at 17, Derek Thomas at 18, Dwight Freeney at 19. All these guys have made the Pro Football Hall of Fame, so I fully expect John Abraham will have that distinction at some point, hopefully in these next couple years, where we can add some Gamecocks to that list of guys with gold jackets. Stephon Gilmore, who is still open to playing. He's not on our team right now, but still open to playing as of right now. So his career not quite done as of yet. Makes a very solid case as well. And of course, when his career ends, he'll still have to wait the 5 years before that happens. So I wouldn't put him on the list of next to go in, but somebody that could certainly make a case to go in when his career is indeed said and done. So hopefully Sterling Sharp won't be lonely in Canton for too long in terms of former Gamecocks that do have the distinction of having one of those gold jackets. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the hour. Coach Beamer talking about the new look for Carolina helmets, something that Lenore Sellers has been pushing for. We'll discuss that coming up next as we wrap up hour number 2 of the Extra Point. Tyler Head, along with you, flying solo on your Monday on The Game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass.
This is Boomer Esiason with the Sportsman Ed. Saturday's Race of the Century at the World Aquatics Championships in Singapore featured 18-year-old Canadian superstar Summer McIntosh against 28-year-old 9-time Olympic gold medalist Katie Ledecky in the women's 800 meters. The GOAT captured her 7th world title, clocking a championship record time of 8:05.62. I'm Boomer Esiason.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
DQ presents The Sound of Happy. Hear that? That's the DQ Chicken Strip Basket. Only $7.49 for a limited time. We're talking 4 100% white meat seasoned chicken strips served with fries, Texas toast, and DQ signature country gravy. Yeah, you heard that right. For crunch time and no time, it can only be the DQ Chicken Strip Basket. Just $7.49 for a limited time. Get it delivered in the DQ app. Happy tastes good at participating locations.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You need parts? O'Reilly has parts. Get 1 free set of brake pads when you buy 2 brake rotors. Upgrade to Brake Best Select pads for just $10. Or upgrade to Brake Best Select Pro or Import Direct pads for just $20. Product availability. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Eat up, buddy. It's almost time for school.
You take charge of your home. You take charge of your work. Don't forget to take charge of your gut health too with Nature Made probiotics. Nature Made has clinically studied probiotics that work with your digestive tract's natural bacteria, so you won't miss a beat in your daily routine. Find us in the vitamin aisle. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
If you didn't think skipping breakfast was a big deal, you'd be right. Before. But now, Wendy's has Buck Biscuits. We're talking sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit, bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit, or even the Honey Buddy chicken biscuit for just $1 each. Seriously, you can get all three if you want. They're just $1, so you'll never skip breakfast again. If you're smart. Breakfast for $1? Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. Limit 5 qualifying items per transaction. Not valid in the combo while supplies last.
Oh, yeah. The Extra Point with Tyler Head.
And the kick is good.
Call or text 803-404-6100 on the Game Network.
Welcome back in. It is the Extra Point. Tyler Head along with you here, wrapping up hour number 2. We'll get into the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour. Presented by Firehouse Subs coming up here in the top of the hour. But I remind you once again, 2 weeks from Friday, it is the 1075 The Game Summer Golf Classic out at Charwood Golf Club in West Columbia. Tee time's at 9. Registration starts at 7:30. We're going to have those delicious onion sausages once again for breakfast. Firehouse Subs being provided for lunch. We're going to have prizes. The golf gun makes its return. It's going to be a great time. If you want to take part, it is $400 for a team. Give Charwood a call at 803-755-2000 and press the number 2 to sign up, again, for the game's Summer Golf Classic coming up on August the 22nd. If you know me, you know I love talking some uniforms, and Carolina's got some nice ones. But particularly helmets have been a topic of conversation over the past couple days. In fact, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, right now on the SEC Network, they're replaying the South Carolina-Missouri game from last year. And in that game, South Carolina is wearing their traditional uniforms, the black jerseys, white helmets, with the bigger Gamecock logo featured on the helmet. And Coach Beamer was asked on Thursday, given the recent tweet from the Gamecock football account, if that larger helmet logo was indeed here to stay.
Yes. I think the bigger logo last year was very popular with our players. They wanted to wear it. What did we wear it against? South Carolina State, I think, for the first time in that throwback game. Not South Carolina State. Who we played? Akron. Yeah, thank you, Lulu. Akron was the throwback game, right? And we wore it. I think that's right. And then they wanted to wear it again against Alabama, and then I think we wore it against Missouri, and then they wanted to wear it in the bowl game, so they like it. Lenoris texted me. I was at dinner in Charleston about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I was at dinner, and Lenoris was just texting me helmets that he likes, that he thinks would be cool to wear this upcoming season. I know our players like it, so I asked some of those guys, between the smaller Gamecock logo and the bigger one, which one do you guys like? And they all loved it. I think our fans like the bigger logo, so I think that's what we're trending towards for sure, is the bigger logo.
Again, I'm watching the replay of the Missouri game as of right now, and it just looks better, right? When you have a bigger logo, it stands out more, and obviously, it puts your brand out there a little bit more, which I really, really like. And listen, I was a huge fan of those throwback uniforms, the George Rogers, whatever we want to call those, that they did wear in that game against Akron. I really hope that makes its way back in the rotation this upcoming season, because, again, it's just a really good look, very clean, and hopefully we see them worn once again this year. But if we're talking specifically about helmets, and Carolina's got a nice little rotation of the helmets right now, in terms of the what they wear throughout the entire season. I put together my list, and you can give me your own if you want to, in terms of how I order them, of which helmets I like, from most to least. And I think the throwbacks are number 1. Now, again, the throwbacks feature the little stars on either side of the stripe, because that's what they look like back in the 80s when George Rogers and the likes were wearing them. And heck, I wouldn't be mad if they brought those back full time. But if nothing else, you at least have the bigger logo on the side. That again, I think just stands out more and looks better overall in terms of your helmet. I think the black helmet is really cool as well. Beamer talked about how the players tend to like the black. Again, I will always stand by, as long as black is in your school color, wear it. Do black out, head to toe, whatever it may be, as long as it is a color that aligns with your school, which for Carolina, Garnet and black, school color, that's fine with me. I think the classic white, and again, now we're talking about it with the featured bigger Gamecock logo, very good, very crisp, very clean. I think that goes a long way. I think the Garnet helmet, which has the white circle for the big Gamecock logo in it, also good. I'd put that number 4 on my list, though, based on what they kind of rotate through as of right now, which I guess if you're going to go with the bigger helmet sticker now, you're going to have to make that circle a little bit bigger as far as the Garnet helmets go. But I think that's something good. I know they wore that on the road at Vanderbilt last year. And then they didn't wear it last year, but the Block C, the old school throwback Block C, I believe the last time we saw those was actually against North Carolina in Game 1 of 2023, where, Spencer Rattler got mauled, it seemed like, by that defensive unit by North Carolina, and they haven't really been seen since. And as superstitious of a person as I am, I can understand when you have a game that goes as bad as that one did, not wanting to break those things out. I do think they look fine. Again, it's just hard for people to shake, I think, the last time you saw them and the thoughts surrounding that. But those look good, too. Very clean, kind of another throwback type of look if they want to ever break those out again. But that's kind of my list. I go throwback. I go the matte black. I go with the classic white, the Garnet, and then the Block C. And I don't know, maybe experiment, do something a little bit different. I know Wes, brought up in conversations with the North Sellers some other alternative helmets that could possibly be in the works. One of those being, I think it was 2015, which would have been Spurrier's last year when they wore the one that was white and had the Gamecock tail and feathers kind of coming out the front of the helmet. Almost kind of looks like a flame going up. That one's pretty cool, too. Carolina's a really lucky school when it comes to the different options they have with helmets and all that kind of stuff that does stand out. And look, I'm a big uniform nerd, so those kind of things do certainly appeal to me. So we'll see what they end up wearing this upcoming year, as long as they're winning, right? You can wear whatever you want at that point, but we'll see what options they decide to wear. And hey, you got a special game in week number 1 against Virginia Tech, so maybe you wear something special in that one as well. So we'll see what. I always look forward to the uniform tweet every single week. They put out, hey, here's what we're wearing, white tops, black uniforms, whatever it may be, and hopefully we got some good combinations coming up this upcoming year. That'll do it for the Extra Point. Coming up next, it is the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. We'll dive back into camp conversations, the latest with Rasul Faison and him being cleared to practice and what that means for South Carolina and his overall eligibility case. That's coming up next in the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs here on the game.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at herndonchevy.com.
Go the road less traveled. Unless the road more traveled would have actually gotten you there on time. Take the leap. Unless you're about to leap into a gator-infested lake, then do not leap. Don't even dip a toe. Anything is possible, like winning the lottery and not winning. And if that gets in the way of life's other possibilities, then it might be time to take a break. Because knowing your limits is an important part of becoming a better player and a better you. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Join Lexington Medical Center for the Tunnel to Towers Columbia 5K Run and Walk on Friday, September 12th at 7 p.m. This unforgettable patriotic event champions the heroism of our nation's first responders and service members. Be sure to stick around for the after party featuring live music, family-friendly events, and food trucks. Walk or run to honor our heroes. To register, visit t2trun.org.
Now at Hardee's, 2 hand-breaded chicken tender wraps are only $5. Mix and match your favorite flavors like buttermilk ranch, honey mustard, and spicy. Endless combinations start with 2 warm tortillas, each filled with 100% white meat, juicy on the inside, crispy on the outside, hand-breaded chicken tenders. Any 2 wraps, now just $5. Hardee's, goodness in the making. These items only. Price and participation may vary. Tax not included. Visit restaurant for details.
So I finally went to MUSC Health Midlands Cardiology last week.
Yeah? Everything okay?
Yeah, and I felt like I was in the right place. I saw an experienced cardiologist.
That makes a difference. You want someone who really knows the heart.
Exactly. And they've got locations all over. Columbia, Newberry, Bamberg, even Kershaw and Lexington.
It's good to know. Did they make you wait for tests?
Nope, they got it done the same day. It just felt efficient and safe.
That's the kind of care we all deserve.
MUSC Health.
Changing what's possible.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/radio to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio. HIMS.com/RADIO.
Calling all Gamecock fans, it's the return of the Garnet and Black Bash at Still Hands Brewing. Put on your Garnet and Black and head out to Still Hands Brewing Saturday, August 16th for this free event featuring Gamecock Central. The festivities start at 5 p.m. and include a food menu inspired by all your tailgate favorites with live music from Ryan Trotty beginning at 6. So come out for the Garnet and Black Bash at Still Hands Brewing Saturday, August 16th from 5 to 10, and we'll see you there.
Bill Gunner for Charwood Golf Club. I tell you what, it's hot out there right now, but at Charwood, they are taking care of their clients. On 90-plus degree days, they have fans on the range, ice towels at the turn, and when you are done. So call today and book a tee time. The heat's no problem. Go visit one of the great courses right here in the Midlands. You can call them 803-755-2000, or you can book online charwood.com. Get out to Charwood today and enjoy a great round of golf at one of the Midlands' hidden gems.
Your home for the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station. The Gamecock Central Takeover Hour with Tyler Head, along with Chris Clark and Wes Mitchell from Gamecock Central. Sponsored by Firehouse Subs. Call or text 803-404-6100 on the Game Network and on the 107.5 The Game app.
$11 o'clock on your Monday morning. Welcome in. Gamecock Central Takeover Hour. Presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler West, Chris along with you here. Another week closer to the start of the college football season. 27 days away. We've got our first couple days of camp in. First full week of camp this week as we inch ever closer. It feels like fall outside. Ball's right around the corner, guys.
Is this fake fall?
Yeah, false fall.
False fall. It does feel fantastic. I've woke up and I walked outside and I'm like, which football game is today?
Yeah.
None yet.
You're almost kind of like in the twilight zone. Like, it's not August 4th. It's September 29th or something.
It is putting me in the mood, though, for some football.
Will we be out of the mood when it kicks back up to 95 at the end of next week?
No.
No.
Nope, I'm officially ready.
You're locked in?
Yep, less than a month. What is it, 27 days?
27 days,
okay.
Yep. It's easy to do that math on Monday because you just go Sunday and then -1 from however many weeks out.
Here you go.
You got that quiz?
You guys ready? Right off the jump?
Pop quiz ready for us?
Have you guys studied for 27 at all?
Have you, Chris?
No, Oscar Attaway is wearing 27.
He is.
This year. That's all I know.
This is a question about a current player, but not the one currently wearing 27.
Oh.
You guys remember that DQ Smith wore 27 as a freshman?
Yeah, he did.
So today's question, and you got to be very specific here. I need the details on this one to get it right. First one to answer it gets the point. DQ Smith scored 2 touchdowns as a true freshman at Carolina. How did he score those touchdowns, and who were the opponents?
Goodness gracious.
These were 2 pretty notable touchdowns.
Is there any half credit on this?
Depending on the answer you give me, I'll see how it. I'll see what you give me and go from there. How about that?
All right, pick 6, Gator Bowl against Notre Dame.
And
there's 2 touchdowns here, so I need a full answer.
That's why I was asking if there was partial credit, because I've got one I can't.
Okay.
Place the other.
Now, Chris, do you agree that he got half of it right, or you have a different answer?
Did he have a pick 6 against? This is Wes and I talking.
Yes.
Yes, he did.
No, I'm not saying he did. I'm just saying, Chris,
yes.
Do you
did say
think
yes.
that is correct?
The other one, okay, Carolina opened with Eastern Illinois in 21. DQ Smith was 22. Played Georgia State in the opener. He had a score against Georgia State, I think. Let's look at Tyler. Let's look at his face. He's not giving it away. He's got a good poker face. Now, I could be dead wrong. I feel like in my head he had a score against Georgia State.
I know OD had the pick 6 in the bowl game too, but I swear I think DQ scored early in that game
With a pick 6. I don't
know.
remember that. Okay. The only one I can come up with, Tyler, so I'm out unless you start divvying out half points, is he had a score against Georgia State, I want to say. And I want to say Carolina blocked like 12 punts in that game. So I'm going punt return. Not punt return. Blocked punt, run back for a score against Georgia State. And that's the only one I can come up with. I rest my case.
Going to have to give out half point to both of you because you are correct. He had
Look at that.
A punt block touchdown against Georgia State, and he had a pick 6 against Notre Dame in the bowl game.
That's not bad.
You will each get that.
I'm proud of us.
Look like morons. So
well, I look like one because did you I completely have memory hold the Notre Dame pick 6.
Yeah, I do remember. That's why I said it.
But their quarterback threw
I
three
think
picks.
the OD one's more memorable because it was 100 yards
and it was late in the game.
It was late in the game. Yeah, I think that's what it just kind of stands out in your memory a little bit more. But yeah, DQ also had one in that game.
What I was trying to say, do you remember it? Like, does the Georgia State one now ring a bell?
Yeah, but I remember there being multiple blocks. I don't know if I could have got to it being DQ.
Like, I remember him coming off the sideline, and obviously, like, Beamer was super fired up. He loves a good punt block.
Sure.
With a score attached. Likes to score.
Yeah.
You know? So he was all
I had
fired
forgotten
up.
he was 27.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he spent the past 2 years as number
These
1.
guys changed their numbers. That is my old man yells at clouds thing.
Stop changing your numbers.
Wish these guys would stop changing their numbers.
Keep your number, please.
Well, now is it more beneficial, especially given the fact that you can profit off of a jersey being sold with your name if you did switch numbers? Because then people have to buy a new jersey for you?
No, I feel like people are going to be like, dude, I'm not buying a second jersey because you changed your number. Like,
no, maybe it wouldn't work for everyone. But if, like, Sellers switched to, like,
Sellers
14.
can't switch.
Well, I know he can't, but if he did, like, well, then a bunch of people are going to go out and buy 14 jerseys in addition to the ones that have already bought 16. Like, for him, it might actually work.
I think you'd be ticked off.
You have your brand identity.
You
though,
do. I'm not saying
number.
that he would, but I'm saying if you're trying to leverage that, you could if you're a certain type of player.
Okay.
You could.
Well, you guys each get half a point, so the distance stays the same. West still leading by 2 whole points, 18.5 to 16.5. But this does end that Friday before the season starts. So, Chris, you gotta catch up here. You got a little over 3 weeks.
So I've got 25 days, 24, whatever.
Yeah, I guess
Well,
so.
your countdown to kickoff is into the Carolina kickoff, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, and again, it won't be one day because we'll be on
Sunday.
Friday, so there won't be a one day. So the final question will be Sterling Sharp related on that Friday.
So we'll open up I'm about to go on a 24-25 straight heater, win by 25.
Maybe so. Listen, we're getting into the lower numbers here. A lot of possibilities in the 20s, the teens, and the single digits.
I didn't see the question you asked coming, but we did well. I'm proud. I'm proud of us.
Have you already thought of 26?
I have not. You got a suggestion? I don't think about it until the show's over. I don't look ahead.
One day at a time.
One day at a time. But I take suggestions if you guys want to throw players out there. I'll look into it.
26.
Brandon Isaac.
Oh.
Bust out a Brandon Isaac question.
Okay.
No, he's only no.
Okay,
Please don't. I shouldn't have said that.
I would just pictured a random 26 that I don't know if he's actually 26 because this guy, no offense to him, I don't think he played at all. But I pictured Jasper Sasser.
Whoa.
Was he a 26?
He was. Pretty good. We're at the stage now where we remember like obscure Jasper Sasser,
Well, that's
Brandon Isaac, but not like if you're like, who wears 26 right now? I'm like, let me think about that.
Well, that's why this is fun. You guys have been covering this team for a long time, so I can dig in and help you guys remember some things of years past.
Yes, that's true.
So either way, half point for everyone today. Move on, 26 coming up tomorrow. A couple days of camp already in the book. The phase-on thing is already very interesting. Friday, and we talked about it, he was not going to practice. And then on Saturday, he is practicing. They had gotten a waiver from the NCAA, which that only took a couple of hours. It begs the question of, well, if that can go so fast, why can't the other thing? Again, it's all confusing at the end of the day, but end result is, as of right now, he is practicing, preparing as he normally would, like he is going to play coming up in 27 days, as we still continue to wait to see the official ruling from the NCAA in terms of his eligibility.
Yeah, I mean, this is the story that will not end at this point, and you certainly hope it's going to end in a positive outcome for him at this point because he has been through so much. And, yeah, it is – and obviously the standard for getting the waiver to practice is a much lower standard to meet than the standard to get an extra year of eligibility. However, after acknowledging that, it is still kind of insane that they were able to get that answer so quickly, yet this is still and I do think like a lot of people have said like, all right, what's what the heck is the holdup? And I think it's important to remember and acknowledge, so with something like this, like they have been gathering information from multiple schools in terms of his background. Were you actually on, I assume were you actually on these teams? Were you actually on these rosters? There was a rumor going around that basically put the blame on Marshall because that was where he started. And I think in terms of the fact, like, I do think what happened that first year probably has been a big part of the discussion. Like, all right, were you on that roster and you didn't play? Were you truly gray-shirted? What was the messaging to you at the time? All that. But in terms of Marshall holding this thing up, like that rumor, not true whatsoever. Like, they, from what we have been told, have worked with South Carolina in getting all the information that they have needed about kind of his experience there. And so you are going back, you're gathering a lot of information. I have tried to be kind of level-headed about this a little bit, but, I mean, I got to say, at this point, like, I don't know how much more information there could possibly be to gather, because it has been, from what we have heard, it's been a little bit more of a back and forth, like a collaboration. It's not just, hey, here's all the information, give us a final answer. It is, well, hey, we see this, we see that, we see this. Can you get someone to verify XYZ? Can you add context to ABC? So it's kind of like it's like when your teacher doesn't just grade the test, she sends it back to you and says, correct this or give me more.
Yeah.
And at this point, though, it's like, what more could there possibly be?
Yeah, and the crazy thing, if you look at Rasul's college journey, obviously there have been multiple stops, and you're right, Wes, the time at Marshall where he was enrolled, but according to everything that we've heard, not only, if you look at his bio, it says he gray-shirted and did not play football. That doesn't mean he didn't appear in a game. Like, he literally wasn't on the team. And so that's at the heart of this. But if you go forward, and I don't know if this is, part of the discussion or part of the case, so to speak, maybe it is, the first year that he actually played a snap of college football was in 2022. 2019, Marshall, not on the roster. Then he was taking online classes at a junior college. Then the next year he was actually at Snow College, which is a JUCO out in Utah, but he didn't appear in any games. Now, he was on the team, right? So if you're on a team, that's going to trigger, a year of eligibility. But 2022, not that long ago, the first time he actually took carries in a game. So I don't know. When you I think this is why a lot of people are looking at it, and Shane Beamer said as much, hoping that the NCAA does the right thing. This isn't one of those cases. I know we've said this before, but just to reiterate, this isn't one of those cases where you've got a guy who's played 5 or 6 years and you're just kind of throwing it out. Let's see if he can get another year, just for the fun of it.
Sure.
Because he wants to keep playing. This is 2022, 23, and 24 last season. 3 seasons of on-field play. Now, I know that's different than the actual clock. But, if you're looking for a reason to actually, to kind of bolster the case, that's a pretty good one. So, my question on all this has been, in my head, it's like, why is there so much back and forth? But, sometimes people come back and say, hey, we see this, like you said, Wes, but we need more information. It's probably, not even if I had to guess, we can see it's not the most efficient of processes. Why is it pretty quick on a waiver? I don't know when exactly that was submitted, the waiver for practice versus the waiver for eligibility. Obviously, those are two different things. One's a lot more important than the other when you're looking at giving a guy an entire additional year. I don't know why it's so inefficient, but it is what it is. Saga keeps going. Hopefully it'll end soon.
Yeah, we'll wait and see. Again, it's been going on this long, so who knows what the timetable on that is, but he, at least for right now, is deemed eligible to practice as we ramp up to start of the season, coming up in a little under 4 weeks. We'll dive back into some camp notes from over the weekend, things that we didn't get to talk about on Friday, including the quarterback situation and who's emergency option number 1 as of right now. That's coming up next. It is the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour, presented by Firehouse Subs, on your Monday on The Game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
Hate paying for streaming? Well, the 107.5 The Game app is free. Yes, free. Just download the 107.5 The Game app. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at herndonchevy.com.
All right, everyone, let me tell you about our friends over at Game Day Men's Health. If you're a guy out there listening and you've been struggling with some symptoms that are unwanted, weight gain, muscle loss, if you've had trouble sleeping, if you're just not feeling great in general, reach out to our friends over at Game Day Men's Health. 803-265-3161. You can go get tested there, see what's going on. They'll draw your blood work at their in-house labs. They'll check it out. They'll give you a consultation and let you know what you look like and if you may need any treatment. They specialize in TRT, or testosterone replacement therapy. They can help boost your energy and strength levels. They're only going to recommend it for you if you actually need it. Same-day appointments are available for fast, convenient care. Again, in-house labs, comfortable man cave-style clinics, complete with TVs and refreshments. You can get your results in just about 15 minutes. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. or 803-265-3161.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, the ultimate lunch lineup boasts wall-to-wall sports and scenic views. When you're hungry and in a hurry, the Scratch Kitchen delivers lunch in the clutch. I mean, where else can you order a 29-degree draft beer and a quickie combo on your lunch break? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks Scratch Kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge.
They say perfection is a journey, and at Carolina Stone Craftsman, that journey leads us to just outside Columbia in Chapin. Our marble, our granite, our quartz, they're sculpted with the highest craftsmanship, honed with family values, and delivered with professional results. Explore the craftsmanship of each slab, see all our new showroom has to offer, and experience our custom hardscapes. Crafted to perfection, experience Carolina Stone Craftsman's workmanship. Take us for granted. Your journey to perfection starts with us, Carolina Stone Craftsman, just beyond Columbia and Chapin and beyond your expectations. CarolinaStoneCraftsman.com.
Surprise! Your expenses this month were way higher than you expected. Also, you forgot to renew your website domain, and now you're in a bidding war.
You should see the look on your face. At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Plus, the fridge died in the break room, and now everything smells weird.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at VaxAssist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Bill Gunner for Dr. Dan Balknight and the Men's Clinic. Getting older is never fun. You start experiencing some symptoms that you're not accustomed to. Maybe it's brain fog. Maybe it's low energy level. Maybe it's lack of drive and motivation. But at the Men's Clinic, Dr. Dan Balknight is ready to help you with an individualized treatment that will treat your needs. So give him a phone call today, 803-875-MENS. Again, that's 803-875-MENS, or visit him on the web for more information, mensclinicsc.com.
The Toro Time Cutter Max is built tough and priced right. Now for a limited time, Cato's Power Equipment is offering up to $300 off of most Toro Time Cutter and Time Cutter Max models. Are you interested in paying off your new mower over a few years? No problem. Cato's has financing plans to fit most sizes, budgets, and even less than stellar credit scores. Cato's Power Equipment, Columbia's home for the tools you need to maintain your turf. 4012 West Beltline Boulevard and online at catospowerequipment.com.
The Gamecock Central Takeover Hour with Tyler Head, along with Chris Clark and Wes Mitchell from Gamecock Central. Sponsored by Firehouse Subs. Call or text 803-404-6100 on the Game Network and on the 1075 The Game app.
Welcome back in. It is the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler Chris with you on your Monday here on the game. We didn't get a chance to discuss everything that Coach Beamer talked about at the end of last week on Friday's show, but one thing notable that I wanted to kind of loop back around to was what he said on Thursday in reference to the backup quarterback. Obviously, we know Sellers is the guy, no denying that, but the option after him is still a bit up in the air, and as you guys have seen, Luke Doty is working with the quarterback so far in camp, also working on special teams too, but he seems more committed to being a quarterback right now as opposed to being a wide receiver. And Beamer did say essentially, hey, if a situation arose in game number one, Doty would be the guy to come in and spell Sellers for a short period of time if need be. And this kind of backs up something we've talked about a lot this offseason when discussing the backup quarterback. Yes, you know, the eventual thought is, especially if this is Sellers last year, that Aaron Noland or Cutter Woods or maybe Landon Duckworth is your future in 2026. But if push came to shove early in the season, Luke Doty would be the sensible solution, at least in the short term, given that he does have experience that Aaron Noland and Cutter Woods right now do not have.
Yeah, and I would say, I don't know when we started talking about this, but Beamer just confirmed it for us last week, but I think this is something we had kind of at least gotten wind of being a fairly strong possibility. You started here in the spring, hey, Doty is back focused pretty much 100% at quarterback, at least in terms of what he's doing on offense. Like you said, he's doing some of the special team stuff. Somebody on our message board, I thought it was a good question, said, well, why is the number 2 quarterback playing on special teams? And, I said, right now, I don't really know that that's anything to worry about. Like right now, they're doing special teams drills, and obviously Luke likes to be involved. I would imagine if Luke exits camp as the number 2 quarterback, you're probably going to be a little bit more careful about putting him in those positions. Now, Luke is an older guy, obviously, as is kind of the running joke now, and he wants to be out there. He wants to help his team. So maybe he does kind of still get some reps out there. But for the most part, I think this year has been about sort of just getting him back up to par at the quarterback position, because he has played a ton of other roles during his time at South Carolina. And, that was one thing when I asked Shula about him. He said, look, I appreciate that Doty doesn't take anything for granted. Like, and that's talking about, like, take his knowledge for granted. Like, he is attacking this thing just like he is a young player that has plenty to learn. And so, guys, I would say a backup quarterback, that doesn't even necessarily mean you are the number 2 most talented quarterback on the roster. The skill set to be a great backup quarterback is not even necessarily the same skill set to be a great starter. There's been, look at the NFL. Remember when Cam Newton's trying to get back into the league? Mm-hmm. And it's like,
yep,
you can look around the league, and there was an argument made like, okay, you're telling me all these backup quarterbacks, some of them just, like not good. You're telling me even 30-whatever-year-old Cam Newton isn't better than half of these backups?
Sure.
Yeah, he probably was, but Cam Newton was not born to be a backup quarterback. The skill set to be a great backup quarterback is the guy that is okay that his job is to make everything easier on the starter, is okay going into every game attacking it like I'm going to play when there's a 95% chance that I'm not. And so I think, and not that the other guys wouldn't do the same thing, but I do think there's a certain maturity you have to bring that to the table. Yeah. So I'm not saying all that to say that Luke has locked up the backup quarterback spot. Maybe Air or maybe Cutter just passes him. That could happen. But if they don't, I don't think that's going to be some surprise at all. And Shula, and at the end of that comment about Luke, he said, people know how hard it is to play quarterback as a young player, right? So I just get the feeling we saw what happened last year. They don't want to put one of these young guys in the spot that Robbie Ashford was thrown into, leading in a big game late against LSU.
Yeah. Well, two things I think to remember. So first of all, even though, you look at Luke and he's in year 12, no, seriously, year 6 at Carolina, and think, okay, you kind of leave out sometimes the fact that he could still improve as a player. Like, a lot of people are looking back at maybe what he was in 2021, which was his, by the way, second year of college ball, and kind of what you saw then. You got to remember, he's played special teams. He's bounced back and forth. He spent time where he's literally just a wide receiver. And I think back to Shane Beamer has said in the past this year, hey, Luke had a really good spring. So somebody like Luke who works hard, who has a good feel for the game, who's intelligent, who's athletic, who's a talented guy, talented football player overall, he could still get better right now that he's been for a while now fully focused on quarterback. This is a guy that could take another leap as a player on the practice field, right? So that's number one. And I think number two, yeah, it's coming into camp that if the season started today, he's the backup, right? And so you leave room for maybe that to change. But when they get out of fall camp, going into the Virginia Tech game, something that's not going to change is he's still going to be the only guy on the roster, aside from 16, aside from Lenore Sellers, who's played in a game. Your other guys are Air Nolan, who redshirted last year, and a true freshman in Cutter Woods. So even if Woods and Nolan really start pushing in practice, heck, even if they look in practice, if you look at them and go, man, they've really come on, they look even better, you're still going to go into the first game in Atlanta knowing that Luke's the only guy that has taken a snap. And for coaches who want reliability and, typically are going to lean, if possible, on experience, I mean, you can't forget that.
Sure. And I think it's valuable, look at the week number 2 game against South Carolina State. No disrespect here, but we hope that South Carolina handles their business and, can have a healthy lead in that game where you can get some backups in. We don't need to see Luke Doty taking reps in that game. We know what we have in him. That's valuable for hopefully both Air Nolan and Cutter Woods to get out there, get some reps, get some snaps, and get experience under their belt to maybe position themselves later on in the season to be that true number 2. Again, knock on wood, hopefully Sellers stays healthy the entire year. It doesn't come to that option, but you have that. And then when you're looking ahead to the future, if Sellers is going to be heading off to the NFL for next year, start getting the idea of, okay, which one of these guys could be taking over. The more experience you can get these guys in hopefully some blowout games with South Carolina winning heavily against some opponents, the better it is for kind of starting positioning yourself for the future as well.
Yeah, no doubt. And, I think this is something that's probably maybe gotten a little more discussion of people being surprised online than it probably should have. Guess what? Coaches want guys out there they absolutely 100% can trust, especially at the quarterback position. So, yeah, Air, super talented dude. Cutter, incredibly bright future. Like we've talked about, Cutter is probably already a couple of steps better than you would think he is if you were just looking at his ranking. So I get it, and I know people like to talk about the quarterback position. It's one of those spots where you just typically are going to have a lot of different opinions. But I just think this makes complete sense for Luke to be the backup, certainly early in the season.
Yeah, no doubt again that Sellers is your starting quarterback going into his second year as a starter here at Carolina. Is he a freak, though? Bruce Feldman's put out his freaks list. We'll see how many Gamecocks made that list coming up next. Gamecock Central Takeover Hour, presented by Firehouse Subs here in the game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia. 100.5 The Game in Florence. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass.
All right, everyone, tell you about our friends over at Integrated Media. They've been to my home. They've been to Wes's home. They can come to yours as well and help you out with anything from an audio-visual standpoint. Talking to Michael, Nathan, the team over at Integrated Media, they hear a few common things from their new customers. Hey, I didn't know you sell your TVs at the same price as the big box stores. I didn't know you guys install camera and alarm systems. Didn't know that you can work on my internet, my Wi-Fi signal. Yes, they can do all of those things for you. They sell the equipment. They install it for you. That means you get great local customer service. You don't have to go to the big box stores. They're a true one-stop shop for you. All of your technology needs. 803-948-8327. That's how you can get in touch with them. You can also go to their Facebook and Instagram, Integrated Media Columbia, see examples of their past work, or check out their website, integratedmediainc.com. That's Michael and Nathan and the team over in Integrated Media.
NIL is more important than ever to success in college athletics. Our friends at Garnet Trust are trying to build the best NIL program in the country for South Carolina student athletes. Head on over to GarnetTrust.com where you can support Gamecock athletes, get access to exclusive content, and help build the best NIL program in the country.
Hey, this is Terry Ford from 107.5 The Game and the Game Network. Let's take a minute to talk about your business. Things a little slow, then it's time for you to be heard on 107.5 The Game and the Game Network. Our powerful on-air and digital advertising options can help you reach more people, boost awareness, and remind remind your customers why they chose you in the first place. When listeners hear your name on the radio, it builds trust and keeps you top of mind when they're ready to buy. Radio works, digital works, let us prove it. Email us now at growmybusiness@cumulus.com. That's growmybusiness@cumulus.com, and let's grow your business together.
Join Lexington Medical Center for the Tunnel to Towers Columbia 5K Run and Walk on Friday, September 12th at 7 p.m. This unforgettable patriotic event champions the heroism of our nation's first responders and service members. Be sure to stick around for the after party featuring live music, family-friendly events, and food trucks. Walk or run to honor our heroes. To register, visit t2trun.org.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end. The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Open the lid on a carton of Bluebell Homemade in the Shade, and you'll have it made, so to speak. It's a combination of our top-selling homemade vanilla ice cream with a swirl of rich chocolate fudge sauce. Enjoy an instant classic.
The good old days are being made right now. The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell half-gallon specially priced $5.99 when buying 2 at all Kroger's now through August 5th.
Summer in Columbia. And if you own a business, you too can have the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield. Just ask Mike.
I was watching TV one night and saw the Rhino Shield ad, and I thought, well, if they can do a house, they can probably do a building.
Rhino Shield's not pain, it's better.
So they came out and they gave me a price, showed me how the Rhino works, how it lasts, and how the guarantee works.
Business or residential, you can get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield now for 10% off the regular price.
They waited for us to leave, and they worked Saturday and Sunday so they wouldn't affect our business at all. This was the great part of it. I came back Sunday night, and you couldn't even tell they were here. There was no paint on the ground. They did a fantastic job.
Here's owner Dan Hoey.
This offer is limited, so call today at 833-RHINO-99 or visit RhinoShieldCarolina.com. Don't paint.
Don't vinyl. Go Rhino.
Don't paint, don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
The Gamecock Central Takeover Hour with Tyler Head, along with Chris Clark and Wes Mitchell from Gamecock Central. Sponsored by Firehouse Subs. Call or text 803-404-6100 on the Game Network and on the 107.5 The Game app.
Welcome back in. Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler West, Chris on your Monday here on the Game. Reminder again, on August 22nd, that is 2 weeks from Friday, it's the Game Summer Golf Classic at Charwood Golf Club in West Columbia. Tee times at 9, registration at 7:30 that morning. We'll have onion sausage for breakfast and Firehouse Subs provided for lunch. There's going to be prizes. And the golf gun makes its return once again. It's $400 for a team if you want to sign up. Give Charwood a call at 803-755-2000 and press number 2 to sign up today.
What's the golf gun?
The gun that shoots golf balls. You guys haven't seen it?
Mm-mm.
It's like your substitute for driving. You just take the golf gun, shoot it.
That would be great for me.
I have not shot it. I want to shoot it. I've seen it. I've heard it. But I've not touched it yet. That's my goal this year is to shoot the golf gun.
Is it made like a potato gun?
Yeah, I guess that's.
Did y'all make those when you were kids?
I don't think my mom would let me.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I don't think I ever made one.
Well,
but
I mean, it's not like I went and asked permission.
It's the same kind of principle, I guess. But yes, makes a cool sound.
Potato guns were amazing.
The Anderson is coming out of Chris right now.
I've talked to people from other, places. Now, they do tend to be a little bit more rural.
Now, did you get hit by a potato that somebody shot?
No. We would shoot them, like, straight up in the air. There's one we shot that still hadn't come down. I think it's in orbit. But you would make them out of PVC and jam a potato in there, and then you put the hairspray on, and not the safest thing in the world, but they were awesome. That's the kind of things we did.
Did your parents ever get mad for wasting potatoes?
They didn't know.
No? Oh, okay. I see.
Sorry.
They were wondering where all the potatoes went.
Yeah. We used them at my buddy's house, so they must have grown potatoes or something. We used a bunch of them.
But yeah, same principle applies. Kind of similar.
I would need like a whole bag of golf guns. Like, here's my driver, here's my putter. Like, the putter's just like, boop, just a little.
Yeah.
Go out there and play with the.
Well, hey, we'll be out there.
I do a lot better.
Be out there in 2.5 weeks. See if you can get your hands on it.
Yep.
Again, Game Summer Golf Classic coming up Friday, August 22nd at Charwood Golf Club. We got our Freaks list from Bruce Feldman that came out earlier on this morning. Unfortunately, it is not a three-peat for Nick Harbor at the very top of the list. Was back-to-back number one in 2023 and 2024. Does fall to third on the list this year by two pretty notable freaks in Jeremiah Smith and Caden Proctor in front of him.
Yeah, this is probably one of the coolest lists in list season that comes out every year. Most of them are poorly formulated top 25s and the preseason freshman lists and all this, which I just don't understand how that's even a thing. But the Freaks list, which has now been going on for 20 years, is one of my favorite things that comes out. Nick, like you said, he has been number one 2 straight years, but now he was third, so still pretty freaking impressive. And, it's pretty awesome. Obviously, Lenoris made this thing as well. He is actually the top quarterback on this list, I believe.
It's kind of hard to believe that. So he wasn't on it before. He's debuted on the list.
Correct.
And like you said, it's not about just the best play. Because a lot of times you'll see guys on this list that maybe they haven't made a huge impact. But I think seeing what Sellers did last year probably puts in your mind even more, this guy should probably be on this thing, right? He's always had freaky traits. Like, I remember one of the things we heard really early about him, like even in high school, was just how much he could squat, and you watch him run, you watch guys bouncing off of him, you can see why. But, Feldman had some stats here. 22 miles an hour on the GPS and a 550-pound squat at 6'3", 245. Pretty impressive.
With 7% body fat.
7% body fat.
Well, and you mentioned he wasn't on this list, last year before we'd seen him properly play. It's a mix because, again, he notes, his abilities in the weight room, his ability to run and all that kind of stuff. But when you watch him with your eyes, and, again, the plays that he made last year, famously the Clemson play, you say, wow, that's not something the average player can do. And I feel like that's something that does ding Nick Harbor a little bit as we talk about his third year being on this list, that the production on the field hasn't quite matched the athleticism we all talk about and everybody is clamoring to see on full display, where, again, we know what he can do running in a straight line when it comes to track and all that kind of stuff. We're still waiting for the full emergence of him as a wide receiver, which I think is what knocks him down a little bit compared to the two guys ahead of him that do have more production on the field to speak for in addition to their freakish athleticism.
Yeah, for sure. Nick has had to deal, I think, with some probably extra pressure because of stuff like this, because of the viral track stuff when he was initially being recruited, because of being so highly rated on the video game with 99 speed and all that stuff. And, I do think he, as we've talked about all offseason, has put himself in a position to start to live up to a lot of those crazy expectations. But I do think, there's probably a lot of guys around college football who could make a case for this list, but that just have not quite landed on the radar yet for somebody like Feldman to start digging in on you. I think 2 years ago we said, hey, Nicky should 1,000% be on this list, and he was not on it. Last year he was. So there is a little bit of a trailing you get added on maybe a year later than you're probably known about locally, unless you are Nick Harbor, who was just already a viral sensation as a high school kid.
Yeah, and I think just to reiterate the point that I think a lot of people have been making, including us, about Sellers, to go back to him, he can get better, than what we said. That was his first year as a starter, and you saw the progression from ODU to Clemson when he was. You mentioned the 3rd and 16 play, right? But there was the first touchdown run, and there was the other runs in the game where guys are bouncing off of him left and right, from Clemson. And this is a guy that can continue to get better and better. Particularly, I think you look at the this isn't going to show up on the freaks list. It's not an athletic measure, but just in the passing game, seeing the field. And he's got the arm talent, obviously. Like, we always, frankly, poke fun at people who say that he isn't a passer, he's just a running back. Like, if you watch the games, he is. But for him to be able to continue to get better and better there while harnessing these freaky traits that he has that he can use in the run game or to escape or to get off a pass that others couldn't, that should excite, I think, everybody.
Who else on the South Carolina roster has a case for the freaks list or would be on the South Carolina freaks list?
Definitely Dylan Stewart. I'm actually kind of surprised he didn't make the list for what he did as true freshman.
Yeah. I kept looking for him to at least pop up late on the list.
Yeah, I don't know what the, we've heard, what is it, Wes, that we've kind of heard, like maybe just, I don't know if it's like a 40 time or there's some athletic measures that we've heard that he's tested off the charts in. But if you just turn on, there's got to be something that you can put in an athletic test that can capture what Dylan Stewart can do on a field. I mean, like the bend. I don't know if there's some bend ratio test that people can do, but his ability to, how quickly he can get to full speed and still move and still bend and get around, 320-pound freaky offensive tackles is something to behold.
Who else?
Any freshmen coming in that you think
are a Brian Rowe, maybe
different kind of freak?
B-Rowe.
The vertical.
Lex Cyrus actually is an absolute athletic freak. Ironically, the other guys may all be the other freshmen may be ahead of him, but from a pure athleticism standpoint, the fact that Lex is out leaping Brian Rowe, who actually eye test is one of the best leapers I have ever seen in a Gamecock uniform. But yeah, B-Rowe would have a case. How about J.R. Johnson? Freaky. And I think if he goes to the league this year, that we're going to look back on Judge Collier, and we're going to say, like when he puts down his NFL draft combine times and measurables, we're going to say that guy possibly could have, should have been on there.
I'm want to see his arm length stacked up with like other average arm lengths. It's completely insane. If you see Judge Collier, how long his arms are.
Bill and I talked about this on Friday. Is Judge Collier the least talked about returner we've had this entire offseason? Because we know he's got one of those corner spots locked in. We just haven't spent a lot of time on him. I think that's a sign of respect for how good a player that he is. But I feel like we've talked about him the least out of just about everybody.
We should be talking about him.
We should be talking about him because he's a great player. But it's just kind of like, well, okay, he's got that spot locked down. No question there.
Yeah, I think people either just, it's not on people's radar or they just, okay, Judge Collier, we don't need to talk about him.
Yeah, it's the other corner spot.
Yeah.
Okay, what happens there?
That's right.
But yeah, it's an interesting thing that we came up with the other day. There you go. We'll come back, wrap up the hour. A first time for South Carolina to see a former player go into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. We'll discuss Sterling Sharp as we wrap up the hour up next here on your Monday on the Game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
All right.
When USC women's basketball coach Don Staley talks,
I mean, our fans, they create an experience that if you don't come here, you're going to feel like you're missing out.
You hear it here.
But we're enjoying the time that the light is shown on the University of South Carolina women's basketball team.
Because it's always Gamecock season on the Game.
This is Maggie Gray with a Sports Minute. Micah Parsons wants out, or at least he wants everyone to know why. With no deal in sight, the All-Pro edge rusher did the only thing he can, go public in full detail. A 3-page statement, names named, frustrations aired. This isn't a leak, it's a spotlight, and Parsons is more than comfortable in it. If he can't control the contract, he'll control the story. I'm Maggie Gray.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could it be lower testosterone?
Lower T.
Happens to most guys after 40. I was in the same boat until I started using Nugenix Total T2.
Total T2, the new one I've seen on TV.
Yep, it's the next generation testosterone booster for both free and total testosterone. It's packed with even more man-boosting power, sending nitric oxide levels skyrocketing in just 3 hours.
It actually works?
I feel like I'm in my 20s again. I've got more energy, better results in the gym, and things are even better in the bedroom. Send them a text and get a complimentary bottle.
Nugenix Total T2 will help you feel like a new man and is only available when you text BICEP to 231-231. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, absolutely free. Text BICEP to 231-231. That's BICEP to 231-231. BICEP to 231-231.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
You hear that? That's Mike sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. That's because Mike was smart this time. He took ZQL Ultra to fall asleep fast, stay asleep longer, and get the deeply restorative sleep he needs. So now he wakes up refreshed and ready to conquer Mondays.
Let's do this Monday.
ZQL Ultra. Not for colds, just for sleep. Really great sleep. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Hey, Joy. Oh, you are glowing.
Oh, hey. More like Mirajoyed. That Miralax helped me go. I was so backed up. Tried mega coffees, prune juice, everything. Then Miralax. And hello, gentle relief without the harsh side effects.
Ooh, how does it work?
It works naturally with the water in your body for constipation relief. Find Miralax today at your local retailer.
Use as directed for occasional constipation.
Hey guys, it's Jay Phillips for the Men's Clinic. Too often guys won't go to the doctor when they're feeling off, whether it's because they think they can tough it out or because they just don't want to talk about it. Don't be that guy. Get to feeling better after you see Dr. Dan Balknight and his team at the Men's Clinic. They are experts in health care for men and dedicated to making you feel like yourself again. You can schedule a free consultation by calling 803-875-MENS and learn more online at themensclinicsc.com.
Alan Kennington, responsible for this ad. Office in 1440 Broad River Road, Columbia, South Carolina.
You're hurt. With over 85,000 cases resolved, 12 offices across the state, and over $1 billion recovered in just the past 10 years, you need South Carolina's largest injury law firm on your side. You need George Sink now. George Sink knows South Carolina, and George Sink lawyers will help you every step of the way on your recovery.
Get George Sink Law Firm on the line. Call 999-9999.
The Gamecock Central Takeover Hour with Tyler Head, along with Chris Clark and Wes Mitchell from Gamecock Central. Sponsored by Firehouse Subs. Call or text 803-404-6100 on the Game Network and on the 107.5 The Game app.
Welcome back in. It is the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler, Wes, and Chris wrapping up your Monday edition of the show. Very cool moment for the history of Gamecock football as Sterling Sharp became the first former Gamecock inducted in to the Pro Football Hall of Fame on Saturday. Obviously, as we discussed, long overdue. Great career here at Carolina. Short career in the NFL, but in his time in the league, did put up some crazy numbers and thought of being as one of the best wide receivers of all time, even though that career was cut short. And obviously, we hope this is one of many Gamecocks in the future to find their way to getting a gold jacket, but a well-deserved honor seeing Sterling Sharp go in on Saturday.
And an excellent golfer as well, as we have learned at the Birdies with Beamer golf tournament every single year here recently, it seems like. And, awesome moment for Sterling Sharp. Awesome moment for Gamecock Nation. And, again, this is someone that was a little bit before my, viewing and memory time at South Carolina. But the people who saw Sterling play in the Garden Black will tell you, this guy was absolutely built different and just made it look incredibly easy. And, you look at a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys that can make it look easy on a high school field. But you look back at some of his highlights, and he almost was playing, even at the college level, he was playing a different game than a lot of other people on the field. Like he was a man among boys at the college level. And even in the NFL, some of his highlights, he appears to be the best athlete on the field.
That's hard to do in the NFL. I mean, and like you can go back and look. I mean, yeah, shortened career, what was it, 88 to 94 in the NFL. And unfortunately, the neck injury cut his career short. But a 5-time Pro Bowler, he led the league in receiving 3 years, a first-team All-Pro 3 different times, and, you know, led the league. They have the Triple Crown in baseball, but, of course, they got it in football for receivers, too. It's receiving yards, receiving touchdowns, and receptions, leading the league in that category. And you might think, like, okay, if you're maybe the top receiver in the league in any given year, you might get all those, but that's kind of a hard mark. Only 8 guys have done it, and Sterling Sharp's one of them. You know, the others in the quote-unquote Super Bowl era, Jerry Rice, he was solid, Steve Smith, Cooper Kupp, and Jamar Chase. So it hasn't happened a lot recently, and one of those guys to do it is Sterling Sharp. So amazing athlete, and I think he's just one of those guys who was an elite competitor too. And if you listen to him talk about his golf game now, that certainly comes through. Like, he's a guy that still just absolutely has that alpha-like competitor mentality, and I think that served him well in football too.
Yeah, what were your guys' thoughts on him not really talking about South Carolina in his speech on Saturday? He said, I don't want to bore you with the details at USC, and then moved on to the pro stuff.
Not surprised, really. He typically does not talk about that a ton, which I do think some fans kind of do take that the wrong way. But the interesting thing is, I do believe he absolutely still pulls for South Carolina incredibly hard.
Yeah, so, they put out that video on social media with him talking about it the other day. I mean,
yeah, like he is a big Gamecock fan. So yeah, I really wasn't shocked by that. He tends to lay low, I feel like, in Gamecock Nation, which is certainly his right. And yeah, I wasn't too shocked by that. But I would also, by the way, encourage y'all, go to YouTube and just type in Sterling Sharp highlights. And for one, you'll get a look at Brett Favre at his peak powers as well. But the guy is just almost uncoverable, it appears, when he was at his the peak of his powers.
And I imagine there'll probably be some game this year where he's honored. Imagine like a halftime type of ceremony. Again, coming off the heels of him getting inducted this year to, I guess, maybe if nothing else, properly welcome him back to South Carolina for those that think that maybe there is kind of a disconnect between him and the program, at least in recent years.
I think that would be great, man. I think that's something that needs to happen, and I think that's something that probably needs to be a little bit more than just hey, Sterling Sharp is here. Like, I think it could be something where, your first Hall of Famer, pretty awesome. Like, let's make a huge deal about it. Yeah,
Alshon got a proper halftime ceremony with his jersey thing, so at least something like that. Not just, again, hey, in one timeout, here's Sterling Sharp at the 25-yard line. No, like, we need something better than that.
And obviously Sterling's number has already been retired at Carolina, but I think some type of ceremony for the Hall of Fame would go a long way.
We'll see if that happens this upcoming season. 27 days away from kickoff, and congrats to Sterling Sharp for getting into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That'll do it for the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Halftime show with myself and Scott Hamilton up next on your Monday on the Game.
Broadcasting live